Hello, everyone, and welcome to a second game of um, Order of Darkness. Today, we are doing the same thing we did last time, but just with a different player and following the story. Um, Avel, hello, and welcome to this game. You were supposed to join the first one, but we started without you, and now uh, James is taking some time to show up. So we are starting the second game, just the two of us, and I am going to reactivate.
Well, hello. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Right, I'm reconnecting to so that my camera shows up. All right, good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your character. We talked about the fact that you are an exchange student, Abudan. Do you want to like uh, uh, can we talk a bit more about your relationship to your teacher when you're not at the school, who's Harmony, and then we can make a presentation of your character in more details when in as to like your physical aspect and your powers and stuff like this when uh, James comes if he is only arriving late. Is that okay?
Yes,
Okay.
we could totally do that.
All
Do you want me
right.
to describe the relationship, or did you have something else?
Yes, I'd like you to describe it. I have a couple of questions, like how long you've been a student of Harmonies, if it was
Mhm.
before you joined the School of Eldria, and how long you've been a student at Eldria.
Oh, well, he is an Abaddon. Both of his parents were Abaddon, and both of them accomplished their Suaman and ascended to another form to help the Barrels, leaving him alone. But not necessarily. They gave him to Harmony, who was a trusted friend and a notable ally, to teach him and sort of be his guardian. So Harmony is his teacher, but also sort of a secondary father parental figure. Uh,
Nice.
he has been with them, I would say, for 6 years about now. He was 9 or 10 when his both of his parents finally ascended. And your question was,
And how long have you been to the School of Eldria?
okay, yes. I think that the School of Eldry would have been slightly more recent. He
Hmm.
would have been around perhaps just a year, maybe this is his second year, so people sort of know who he is as this unusual fellow who lives in the woods. But he hasn't really done much. He hasn't been very proactive in talking to people on his first year. He's going to try to change that this one.
Okay. Since we mentioned you were an exchange student, it would be no surprise that you would still find yourself in class 1A because like it could be that you missed a lot of the classes because you were learning with Harmony and um, and so like you're like catching up on those courses now when you're redoing your when you're like finishing up basically your first year, which also means that your character is at the same level as Darius, who just arrived at the school but who had prior training from his parents. Okay, so before you left for your school, um, Harmony was really worried. So while you still were on the small, would he be on the small line? No. I think if you're okay with this, we're going to say that he lives in a jungle, in the jungles of Namwe. Do you know where that is on the world map?
I do. At one point, I was originally thinking he would be from Nonway, but I had
Hmm.
no appropriate pictures.
Okay. Um, Yeah, so it's the like it looks a lot like the Amazonian forest, and yeah, he Harmony sort of like tries to keep the harmony between man and nature and the different forces at play in this region of the world together. But he is still, worried about you going to this strange school that he doesn't know much about. That would teach you more powers, but they also might deviate your mind from the path of harmony, of balance that he's trying to teach you. So before you went, he gave you he made you come with him to a clearing in Namwe, and he gifted you with a small amulet to put around your neck, and he told you this will help you defend yourself against powers that you couldn't normally protect yourself from. It allows your power to touch energy and protect yourself against magic.
Oh, jeez. Well, Saurora has always been a very happy kid, and he looks at him and says, I don't think I'll need it, but, thank you. And he'll immediately, put it around his neck and sort of tuck his hair under it, or over it. They really aren't that bad. They're just sort of, well, I guess they move really fast.
Well, they do things differently, but I hear that this, from what you've told me, this school has a dark elf at its head, an elemental of darkness as its ethics teacher, and the statue of one of the worst humans in history as the professor of artifacts. So I have reasons to not be as trusting as you are, but you need to learn what you need to learn, and I cannot teach you your psychic powers. He looks at the amulet and he says, I had to go to great lengths to kick the ass of the person who was using this in my forest, but I have no use for it, so hopefully it can protect you.
I think I'll do fine. I've learned quite enough here as well as there. Honestly, I think most of the kids there are pretty naive. I can see right through them.
Well, be careful. They might also be able to see right through you. And he's going to, sort of sit down and he always tries to be careful with his hands that are spewing molten lava, not to start forest fires with them. So he's always careful where he's dripping lava onto them, and there are paths in the forest that are just solid lava. And right now he's putting his hands over a little pond of water, and he says, when they contacted you to get you as a student, they said they'd make a portal for you to be able to come back to this clearing. If I'm not busy, I'll be waiting here to give you more lessons. Now it's almost time they'll open the portal. And he nods, and he sort of does what he usually does when he's not actively teaching you anything. He doesn't need to sleep. He's just meditating, and you can see sort of birds starting to come onto his head and peck at some of the and an earthworm picking its head from under his the foliage on his head. And he you can ask him questions or like talk with him when he's in this state. It's just that it's he does this weird thing where he just sometimes just starts meditating out of nowhere.
All right. I imagine like with something like him sitting in the woods, like a bunch of wildcats would come up and like just curl up by his hands because they're so stinking warm. Because they're also made of lava. But
Maybe not curling up against, just
no, not
near.
against, just near. Yeah. Saurora will nod slowly. He probably had like a bag of something, like food, ready to travel. So but that's all right. He's gonna slowly sit down himself and cross his legs, and his wings become very small because he can do that as an Abaddon.
Yeah.
And he's gonna join him in a little bit of meditation
Okay.
before the journey.
All right. You were uh, t- 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 so there's a couple of minutes pass, and then the portal. It's not going to be a portal as you were expecting. It's basically going to be a sort of creature that is made out of pure darkness that walks into the clearing, and you see it has a scythe in its hand, um, and it's one of the creatures that is linked to Professor Zenobius. You see the things on the side that have like strange weapons. These are sort of his servants, and it arrives, and out of it erupts a sort of like um, pool of darkness, like a black mist that envelops the clearing. And when it retracts, you are at the arrival platform.
Oh, can I rush to give Harmony a hug before I vanish?
Um,
Or is it too surprising? I'd understand if it was too surprising.
yeah, it's like you see it coming, and you know it's going to take you back to the school. So it's just like it did the previous times, and basically like it's you have time to like give a hug, and when the mist covers you, you can feel Harmony not being like fading from between your hands because he's not like targeted by the spell. The spell is able to teleport people who are in shadows from one point of shadow to another point of shadow.
Oh, that's
Um,
big spells.
oh, yeah, but Master of Shadows are like uh, they're sort of like archmage level
Yeah.
sorcerers with uh, but who transform themselves into like elementals of darkness. Yeah, and he is there waiting for you along, and his creature was also teleported. And he says, right on time. Good. Um, your uh, have you eaten already? Because I know that there's a class. One of the classes is starting soon. Well, the classes are starting soon, but you can still make it to breakfast if you hurry. You're one
Uh,
of those species who does need to eat, correct?
oh, that's him saying that. Sora sort of looks around. He was sort of still in hugging pose when he appeared, and then he sort of like drops his arms. Uh, I ate about an hour ago. I'm good, and I brought some snacks.
All right. And yeah, he's going to take you to. He says, you. It would appear you don't have any classes today. Hmm. Well, it would appear you don't have any classes this morning. You know the school rules. Don't wander around, and do and the forbidden section is still the west wing is still the forbidden section of the castle, along with the core.
Thoroughly forbidden. Got it.
Um. So yeah, what are you going to do with your free time?
All right. Well, first of all, does he have residence here, or does he teleport back to the forest at the end of the day?
You have residence here.
Okay. I know he's a master of shadows, but teleporting every day would take a lot of magic. All right. He's going to go and find that and sort of look around on his way, see if he remembers any familiar faces. He didn't really make that many friends last year, but he observed some people.
Okay. Um, yeah. So where are you going specifically in the school? Like, there's the after the school entrance, there's like the headmistress's office, like the gardens, the forbidden section, the corridor where students duel, bedrooms, mess hall to eat, school
Well,
baths.
he was going to first go to the bedrooms,
Okay.
drop off his stuff, and get settled in, and then he'll probably move maybe to the dueling court area.
Wait, did I hear? Huh, I thought I had James contacting us. Must have imagined it. Sorry.
Maybe he's thinking about it.
He's thinking really hard about joining the game in his sleep. Well, yeah, we are playing a bit early. So, yeah, you head off to the bedrooms. You're going to hear that. Let's see. You're going to hear the typical extremely loud snoring coming from Baroness Queen's room, which is next to yours. And
Oh,
mm,
I said, oh, so she's my neighbor. I'll remember that.
yeah, and she's like, and her snoring shakes the walls of your bedroom.
Oh my goodness, isn't she very small?
Yeah, she's a. I'm pretty sure the Daimas have size modifiers, and that they're like kind of like smaller and more childish than humans. And yeah, she just snores.
Yeah, the average I'm a size eight, so he'll like that will be a not necessarily a good memory, but a nostalgic memory from last year. So he's like, oh boy, it's gonna be just like last time,
Mhm.
and he's gonna like pull out some extra padding for his ears at night. But he's not going to bed yet, so he'll just sort of put his stuff away really quick. What time is it?
Mm, it's at the place you've arrived. It's the morning. Uh,
Okay, is it like early morning or like our time of morning?
Ish- Uh, we're gonna say it's like you arrived at it's 9:30 right now.
Okay, so
But
he will.
you don't know exactly where the school is. You know that sometimes it moves around, but you don't know where it is currently.
Well, in that case, he will know that she is sleeping in, or I think that is usually a sleeping in for school hours.
She's in
Uh,
the same class as you. She might just not be in the class that's happening right now.
Maybe so. And so he will not knock on the door and bug her. He's gonna after putting away his stuff, like I said, he'll probably go to uh breakfast hall, dueling courts, sort of wander in that area. Maybe if he sees someone he knows.
Yeah, you knock onto her door, and the snoring, like the trumpet sound, immediately stops. She comes out of here and like she's rubbing her eyes and says, "Yeah, what do you want? Hey, you're back. Welcome
Yeah,
back."
thanks. I see we are neighbors again this year.
Yeah, you still in class 1A?
Yeah. Wait, are you?
Yeah, I didn't study for the tests. I thought I'd
Uh,
get lucky, but I didn't. I
well,
I flipped a coin on whether I should study or party, and well, I partied a lot.
well, if you want to study this year, I could help. I'm pretty good at it.
I'll consider it. If it lands on one, I'll study this year. Nope, partying it is. She
Oh,
she closes the. She's gonna start. Like she starts to close the door and then she says, "Did you want something?"
well, I didn't mean to disturb your sleep. I just wanted to greet you, and say I'm looking forward to another year.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
Okay. She says, "Let's see. Should I wake up or go with you? If it lands on one, I'll wake up. No, going back
Nope,
to sleep.
back to sleep.
Good day." And like she closes the door on you.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well,
the
that's okay.
the chosens of I think it's Ariel.
Yeah, Ariel.
The people who rely on like luck and Ariel are always such fun characters. Um, so as you're making your way out of the dormitories, the you are um, so I should be moving you to that image. Once again, just like you saw in the previous video, ignore the big bunnies that are present in the room.
They could be supernatural bunnies.
Yeah, exactly. So you're making your way out of you're making your way out of the dormitories at this point, and you you see one of the teachers heading straight for you and saying, um, "Ta- ta-
The teachers are multiplying.
yeah, Saurora, uh, where have you been? I uh, I didn't see you in my school in my class all year long last year when you should definitely have been in it." And you see it's Professor Francois Bacon, the professor of something.
As soon as he sees the professor like moving straight towards him, he's gonna sort of freeze up and like stand straight and try to look proper, and he'll reply, "Uh, uh, well, there was. See, I wasn't a really good reader last year. They had to help me a lot, so I didn't really understand my schedules, and it got really messed up. And if yours was on there, I'm sorry, I might not have been able to tell."
No, you needed to tell the teacher that was integrating you into the school what you could do, and you didn't tell them anything about your powers to control creatures.
I I can do that.
There's a pause, and like he sort of like face palms and he says, "Yes, you can do that. Just I know you're not a traditional summoner, but you have to know what your powers can do, kid." And you see him starting a sort of like a chant that looks like a magical chant, but he's not using any magic. He is only doing summoning, something that everybody can do, and he conjures a rabbit made out of snow, but who has like very pointy icicle-like teeth. And he says, "All right, Roger, attack." And
Uh,
the bunny just like starts to leap on you, and Professor Bacon says, um, "Go ahead, stop him. I know you have the power to do that."
should I roll defense?
Hmm?
Should I roll my psychic shield in defense?
Sure. If you want to, if that's the power you want to use this turn, go ahead and use that.
Like, I think I know what we're going for, but his first idea is, oh no, there's giant
Yeah,
teeth on a tiny being. Uh,
must defend.
That's pretty good.
Oh, nice. Okay, so this is for the ice
Ice shield. Yep.
Oh, you didn't write in any of the effects, and that's fine.
I did not. I will do that, but I have I'm gonna bring the book up. Have
Yeah,
that
yeah.
as numbers.
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna like have it available as well so that I can. Um,
Absurd is 1,200 life points, but it will decrease by 5 every turn because I can only maintain it at 600 life points.
Okay. Now roll for projection to defend against that small, fluffy snow bunny that's attacking you. Oh
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
so at
100.
174.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it looks like a very very weak creature. It's unable to like to pass your shield, and it just like blocks against. What does your shield look like for people who can see psychic powers? Does it look like a giant snowflake that like blocks attacks that hovers around you? Is it like a bubble but frozen? You might be muted.
I'm sorry. When it's not in like immediate use, it sort of appears as like a bunch of little shimmering bits of hail, like ice shards just floating around him. It's sort of like this web. But whenever something attacks him, it immediately rotates around his body, all coming together to make a sheet of like, it looks like shattered glass almost,
Nice.
becoming obviously more shattered as things hit it. So it just sort of looks like he has this fine icy mist that coalesces around the bunny's face to stop his teeth.
Okay, that's great.
And
Yeah.
seeing that, he's gonna like step back a little and say, "You want me to control it?"
Yes, I'm not asking you to use the typical summoning powers. I'm just asking you to use your powers. I've talked with Professor Cho, and Professor Cho told me and you're clearly using psychic powers of ice. I know you can control ice creatures. Go ahead, try it.
It's an ice creature. Okay, well, all right. Then I think I know what I can do. Hold on. He's gonna blow a psychic point. One less free psychic point,
Mm-hmm.
and use
To give you access to a power you don't usually have.
yes, which in this case is Cold Dominion. All right, and I'm gonna roll it. Here's my potential. Not as good as last time, but that is a 100 to wait. That's eliminate cold. It is a 100 to resist.
Okay. That bunny is he's like a level 0 creature. I'm not gonna roll for it, but basically you are able to like completely stop it, and you can see Professor Bacon saying, "Very good. I'm controlling his mind thanks to my summoning powers to give him orders, but you're controlling its body, its natural code. All right, you've just proven to me you belong in my class." Come with me.
Oh,
It's starting in 10 minutes.
I don't know if I like that, but that's really interesting. All right.
Um, so yeah, and as you are walking there, he keeps talking about how like he's always liked you. You know, like you and him haven't really talked very much, but he finds you to be a very interesting student, and you realize that's because you have the advantage natural. You have animal affinity, correct?
I do. Though do
Animal.
I know that he seems to be a little suit of armor?
Yes, in fact, currently his clothes don't look like sorcerer's robes. They look more like they look a bit more formal, like a suit at the moment.
All right. Uh, and one more confirmation: is he very small?
Yes, but
Okay.
the suit actually makes him tall. Like you have seen him as the image shows, like at like as a small pig inside of like loose fitted clothes.
Oh, it's a pig. I thought that was a helmet.
No,
Oh,
no, he is a pig that has human intelligence. You don't know his backstory, but yeah, he's a
oh. Okay, so this makes much more sense to me now.
he has natural. You have animal empathy, and he's an elevated animal. That's why he inherently likes you and wants you in his class.
Oh, well, cool. I could be friends with Pigman.
He's a teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So, am I following him right now to his class? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. So we need to check.
Now would be an opportune time for Mr. Robinson to join us.
You mean James?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be nice for him to. You okay with just playing a solo game since it doesn't seem like he'll be showing up just for today?
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So you are going to be taken back to the entrance because Professor Bacon says there's a shield around the entire school that prevents teleportation in and enchantments protecting us, stopping some summoning powers. It's much easier to summon creatures at the edge of the school. So that's where we're going right now. I'm really glad that I get to have a fourth student in my class. So I know that James isn't here, but Darius is, being a summoner, is in this class, and so is let's see, Carmina is taking this class as well. So she is the Sylvan, the elf, and
Yeah, she was one of my favorites. She's very scary.
And Sarah the Giant is also taking this class, but unlike so it seems basically that you're all learning something different from this class because you don't have any powers that technically qualify as summoning, but you have the equivalent of the control skill, just for limited to ice creatures. Can you also do that for fire creatures?
Yes, I can also do that for fire creatures.
Nice. Okay. Darius is going to be learning a lot of his skills from here. Sarah is only using key seals, and Carmina is only trying to develop the bind skill. So
Iroh was here, but he stopped showing up.
yeah, he you know he used to take this class like a couple of months ago when you were doing the end of your first year, and like because students don't, there isn't exactly as much a schedule for starting classes as there is in other schools. Basically it's a bit more loose than with some students coming in and out or stuff like that. So okay, so I have notes for this.
Also, a bacon didn't make sense to me until just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. What didn't make sense to you?
That like I thought, oh, it's funny. His name is Bacon, but he's a little knight, and then I realized, no, he's not a little knight. He's big.
He's a little pig called Bacon because my humor sucks.
Well, it could also be that whoever uplifted him was a little bit of a jerk.
You'll find out how he got his name if you like. A lot of my characters have backstories. You just need to like talk with them to find out about it.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. So the teacher like walks up to the others who are at the edge of the shield, and he starts like greeting all of them. And while you're doing this, you see Iroh from from a distance who he's with Icarus, and you hear him yelling, "Hey, Saurora! I hear you take orders from a fire elemental. That's super lame. Look, I give orders to my fire elemental." And he has this like small salamander, basically a red lizard that is a fire elemental. It still is on fire. And you hear him shouting at you, "Really goes to show who the better fire mentalist is."
Saurora looks at this confused and then suddenly smiles. Is Francis leading him away?
Slowly, yeah.
Oh.
Francis didn't seem, François didn't seem to hear that, but like, yeah, he's heading with the rest of the class out of the shield.
Oh. Well, I hope I remember where he's going, because Saurora looks at him and then sees this little lizard, and his face, he gets a big smile on his face, and he's gonna fly right over to Iroh, and he's gonna say, "Actually, I think he's both fire and earth, but what is this?"
And Iroh says, "This is my salamander. I created it myself, and that's why showing how much control I have over it. I don't need to go to this class anymore. Well, good luck catching up to me."
Oh, well, it'll take me a while. I didn't even know I could control things until just a minute ago, but I like your salamander.
Like you, there's a pause, and then he adds, "Oh, and say hello to Professor Pork for me." He turns around and says to Icarus, "All right, let's go. I don't want to stay too close to the losers. They might be contagious." And he turns around and he's going to start heading off. But that is a very interesting way to deal with you okay. So your character is an optimist even in the face of bullies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He wants to like the bullies, and he likes that salamander a lot.
Okay, cool. So, all of you make your way out of the shield, and basically you're at like the platform at the edge of the school. Currently, the school seems to be it seems the school has landed on a frozen lake in the middle of the mountains. You're surrounded by snow everywhere around you, and when you're outside of the school's shields, the environment is quite cold. So we are going to say that Darius is here, but he's not going to be doing anything special during the entire time.
He's very focused.
Yeah, he's very focused on learning stuff. His character is all about learning stuff. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so François says, "All right, today we are going to review the basics because Darius is here and he's just arrived and has had problems with his memories. Now, if you know the answers to these questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand and answer them. First of all, can somebody tell me what the 2 dimensions are that we can summon creatures from? The creatures that...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There are 2 main dimensions where, apart from reality, where creatures that are between worlds or elementals reside. Who can tell me what these are? Do you know?
May I roll for a call?
Whatever you know, your character can know. In terms of like what I'm referring to, and yes, you can roll for occult to for me to give you the answer. It's a difficulty. No, you do not reach it.
Unless Harmony specifically speaks about the Waker Flow of Souls, I wouldn't know.
As I was saying, because you've been here last year and you know a lot of stuff, whatever you as a player know, it could be interesting for you to give the answer, whatever you know as a player. And yeah.
Okay. Well, then, and he will raise his hand, and if he is called upon, he will say, "There's the wake, but then beyond that, there's the flow of souls."
All right. What do you know about these two dimensions?
Is he asking me again?
Yes.
Well, the wake is a reflection of ours, but not exactly. You can generally find things there that you will find in its mirrored location here. And beings there are different, and all magic is physical, regardless of how it would be on the material plane here. And in the flow of souls, I think that's where the spirits of most mortal beings goes to be reincarnated.
That is very good, young Fleisting. Is that how we call you,
Yep.
Fleisting?
That is right.
Okay, cool. All right. Now, who can tell me why the closest dimension to ours is called the Wake? And Sarah is going to raise her hand on that and say that it's because when people dream, usually they project their spirits someplace in the wake and experience things there, and that's why it's also known as the land of dreams. So, so Professor Bacon, he's had like sort of like a board placed to be ready to draw things. So he says, "All right, so this is going to be the real world, the dimension where it's humans exist in, the dimension that is most often seen. RW for real world. Next to it is the Wake, a parallel dimension where dreams happen and where spiritual beings come from. A lot of things, a lot of spirits come from. A lot of spirits are born there of intense emotions from the real world. So where there is a battle, the wake will reflect the bloody nature and the despair of that battle by creating spirits or attracting spirits of despair. In exchange, those spirits can try to enter the real world and influence it to have more of the emotions that spawn them to become stronger. So there is a back and forth of spiritual content between those two worlds. Luckily, there aren't that many portals out of the in and out of the week. And last of all, there is the flow of souls, the realm of death and emotions. It's also known as the Nexus. There is where everyone goes when they die. Everyone must return to the flow of souls, and when they reach the nexus at the center, they basically return to a unified state of being with the rest of the world, and they share their experiences, and they are cleared of their experiences before and just merge back into the flow of souls. And when humans or creatures are born, they emerge anew without any experience from the nexus, from the flow of souls. But it's also a realm of raw emotions, so that's why the concepts like evil are coalesce into kingdoms. What is the realm of evil called in the nexus? Does anyone know?
I do not know even as a player.
And I think it's Carmina raises her hand and she says That's hell. That's where demons come from. And the Professor Bacon says that is very good. So we are able to use those streams, those currents between those three worlds. When we use summoning, we can draw creatures from other worlds or from our own world to us, and they can be controlled if the person summoning is either a natural creature, like any animal or human or elf. That's why even I am able to use those powers. Everyone has access to the four skills of summoning, but not everybody develops them. I am the first known pig in history to do so, but there have been some other animals who've had skills in that regard in the past. Now, there are some creatures that since they are only of the real world, or since they are disconnected from the worlds in some way, cannot have summoning powers used against them. Who can list those four types of creatures?
Or he's
some
got
of
like
them.
2 or 3 on them.
Okay. So like, if you know a couple, you can answer.
If he'll raise his hand,
Yep.
and if he is called upon, he will say, "The undead and constructs."
Very good. For different reasons, but constructs are being creatures that are created either mechanically or magically. They're not connected to the flow of emotions to the emotions of the flow of souls, so they never return to it upon their death. That is the fate of robots and animated armors. Now, for the undead, it's very different. It's because the undead are the only creatures who never return to the flow of souls itself. They are trapped, in essence, because on their way back to the flow of souls, they are stopped by necromantic energies, and so they are brought back, and that makes it impossible for them to exist to exist within the flow of souls ever again. They are trapped from returning to the nexus and delivering their experiences. In fact, the more undead there are, the less energy there is inside of the nexus, because there's less experience returning to it. Their existence endures, but it divides our existence in two. Who can tell me what other creatures cannot have summoning powers used against them? And I think Sarah is going to say it's natural creatures like us or animals can't be controlled or summoned by ki or magic, and gods, creatures that have a gnosis too high to be affected by these things, even if they belong in the flow of souls or the wake. So the lesson is going to keep going a little bit. Hold on. Yeah, the lesson is going to keep going a little bit more, and you're going to learn details about the wake and stuff like this. But at some point, Zenobius arrives, and he says, "Pardon me for interrupting the class. I have to speak with Professor Bacon." And he goes to Professor Bacon and he starts whispering something in his ear. And sorry about that. And he says, and you hear Professor Bacon yelling, "The Castle of Midnight, really?" And Zenobius says, "Shh, we're not supposed to let anybody else know." but get your students inside, or at least get them to grab onto something. And um, and then he's going to start to leave. Professor Bacon turns to you and says, "All right, students, the school is about to be moved once again. We should not stay on this platform. It gets very windy here when we move the school. Let's go back inside. Let's make this class a little bit shorter. In fact, everybody go to your rooms. The And like you can see, he's sort of worried. So what do you do?
Well, I'm going to my wings are going to emerge. I'm going to fly up to the top of the platform and say, "What is going on?"
What is going on? He says, nothing, nothing. We're just moving the school according to normal procedures. And he is going to start heading back inside. And you can start to feel a sort of like shaking in the school as if it's like about to rise. And at some point, like you can see a block of stone from the platform that you're on. It looks like it's going, like it starts to topple over. And Professor Bacon, even without like uh, looking at it, there's a flap from his jacket, basically that becomes completely black and then extends out of his like away from his body, grabs the stone and puts it back where it was. And he continues almost as if nothing had happened. He barely seems to notice that. The other students look a bit worried though about this whole thing. It's not usual for classes to be interrupted like this.
Saurora watching that is gonna be like, "Whoa," and like look back at the others, trying to like share an expression of, "Wow, that was crazy."
Yeah, the other two are a bit surprised, and they say, "I didn't know the professor had magical clothes. It doesn't even look magical. It doesn't even seem to have any spells on it. That's odd." That's what Carmina is saying. Sarah, on the other hand, is flipping through one of her books. On the cover of that book is what appears to be a golden throne and a person wearing golden clothing, but she is flipping through it very, very fast.
Sarah, I think we're supposed to get inside.
Yes, but I think I know something about what he said. And she flips to page 121 of her book, and she points to it, and it's in a language you don't understand at all. It's not a language you've ever seen before. But she says, there it is, the Castle of Midnight. Halfway between myth and reality, the Castle of Midnight holds a special place among the legends of Hoffman. While some claim that they have seen it with their own eyes, many official investigations, even of the Inquisition, support the theory that it is merely a tale. In any case, its history is so old that it has gotten lost throughout the ages. Widespread belief claims that it was a fortress of the great northern kings that ended up being set aflame for unknown reasons and disappeared in one night. The following morning, nothing remained. Actually, the Castle of Midnight gets its name because it only manifests between 11 and 12 at night on a new moon. Anyone who enters will have only 1 hour to do what he wants, since when it disappears, no uninvited living being can remain inside past 12. The Castle of Midnight is where the Lord of the Dead, Hringham, rests while he observes the passage of time. Okay. She keeps reading, and you can see her face getting more and more worried. What do you do?
Oh. What's Ringham like? Does it tell him if he's nice, or is he a bad guy?
It It doesn't. It says he's a powerful necromantic beast, warrior, and a warrior according to the tales who was invincible and who defeated one of the three fates, the death itself, who came to take him. So don't. So not such a pretty troubling character. He says here that he has an army of undead creatures and even some dragons in his castle.
Oh.
Why would we go there? That's a terrible idea.
Are we here right now? Can he look in her book?
Yeah, you can look in her book, and there is an illustration. There is an illustration under the passage that she was reading. Hold on one second. I have to pop you into different folders to into different pages before I can get you to the proper ones. But you're not
Gotcha.
there. You're not there yet. But this is what the illustration inside of the book looks like.
Sora's looking at that, and then he's gonna look around. Does this look like the area of that picture?
You look like you're in frozen mountains, similar to this one, but
It's really hard to tell.
But it's really hard to tell. If the castle is moving, it means you're not exactly in that area yet, but you are already in pretty cold mountains, and the Hoffman is basically mostly cold mountains.
Oh. But wait a minute. It's like midday, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
The school
Well.
is starting to rise from from the lake. Like you can see that there's water dripping from the different platforms as you make your way inside, and Carmina looks worried about what Sarah said. But yeah, she's just listening to the conversation.
Saurora smiles a little bit and says, "Oh, well, I guess we don't have to worry too much. We'll be way out of here by the time midnight rolls around, right?"
Yes, but why? But I think we're moving to go there, and it says that the area, if the castle doesn't get noticed when it appears every full moon, it must be in an area that doesn't have anything else. So that we could. Do you think we're going? I think we might be going to that castle to go in there, or at least the teachers.
Well, I mean, the teachers know what they're doing, right? I'm sure that maybe somebody here is a friend of his.
He is a lord of the undead, though. It's not the kind of friends I want my teachers to know.
Well, you can't judge a book by its cover.
She looks at the 7 books that she always carries around, and she says, "Yeah, I suppose you're right."
Yes. All right. We'll see. If they are moving over there, I mean, we have all kinds of people here with amazing abilities. I think we'll be fine.
Hmm. You see her. She keeps reading, and she says, "Let's see." Oh, she goes back a couple of pages, and she says, here it is. More than a century ago, the kingdom remained isolated until the year 373, when its darkest hour began with the arrival of the so-called White Knight. Rising apparently from nowhere, an immense undead army full of reanimated corpses and spectres started their slow and solemn advance towards the cities of Hoffman. a power that even the warriors of the kingdom could not stop. Given the desperate situation and fearing that the White Knight could extend through other principalities, Lazzaro Giovanni, Zorn's heir, that's the emperor, ordered the fourth Lord of War to support King Askel Grimson with all the forces he had available. Between the both of them, they were able to destroy the mass of undead, and the remaining creatures mysteriously disappeared shortly thereafter. Even today, some rumors told about the possibility that a small group of people managed to stop the White Knight at its source, thus bringing an end to the fighting. Anyway, after those events, Hoffman agreed to officially join Able, although its relationship with the Empire has always been non-existent. The rest is weird. The rest has nothing to do with this, but apparently, yes, I remembered correctly. I think that my book doesn't mention any other undead in the Hoffman apart from the Castle of Midnight. So if those two could be correlated, that could be where the army of the dead came from.
Okay. And maybe where those additional creatures went to?
Hmm?
And maybe those additional creatures that I mentioned vanishing went to the Castle of Midnight?
I'm not sure if there's a correlation, but it does say that centuries ago, when it starts to describe Hingram, it says centuries ago, one of Hingram's lieutenants took advantage of his slumber to send the Undying King's armies against humanity. When Hingram awoke and discovered what was happening, he destroyed his servant and withdrew the forces that were advancing. After that, he returned to his slumber. But if that does mean that some of his lieutenants might be able to destroy humanity if they if he's asleep, or anyways, that's why are we going there?
I hope they don't have a lesson plan for us.
That would not be a very pleasant lesson, I think.
But I mean, I haven't hung out with a lot of humans or other Abaddon even, but even Harmony says that these guys tend to do things a little strangely.
Undead, you mean? Or the
no, school? Our teachers.
Sarah says, believe me, everyone does things weirds all over this place.
Have we made it inside to general safety?
Yes, you've made it inside, and you can see a few of the students are going to to a sort of big room that has a shield on it that allows them to see the progression of the school. Like basically, it's an observatory to see what's beneath the school, and the school is rising in the sky, and you can see that you're basically traveling towards the east from your current position. There's also another aspect you realize based on the fact that, based on the clouds and everything, that you are not in the real world anymore. You're currently in the wake, which is why this flying castle is, this flying school is not attracting everybody's attention.
That was the easiest transference to the wake that I have ever experienced in any anime game. All right. Well, Saurora is just gonna like sit down somewhere and watch and like be looking for this castle if he sees anything. He knows it's not midnight, but who knows where it is in the wake?
All right. Let's see. I can tell you a little bit about the features of the terrain that you're going through right now. The Hoffman. Okay, so you since you are west of the Castle of Midnight, you're basically going up. The the Hoffman is also known as the peak of the world. It's some of the highest mountains in all of Gaia, and so basically, like the castle is rising to colder and colder climates as it heads westwards. Below you, you are going to see both Anar on one side and Hildesheim Hildesheim on the other hand. Hildesheim being the capital of the Hoffman, looks like a very large city nestled in the like on the in two valleys between like surrounded by very high mountains.
Is it like really cold in this room?
No, the school has a sort of like magical system to make sure that the temperatures don't go too high or too low, in order to preserve all of the wildlife in the gardens around it and stuff.
Gotcha. Uh, in that case, he will like if either Sarah or I only know her last name is Draconius.
Carmina.
Carmina, yeah. Are nearby. He's gonna say, where I come from, which is in Nanway, it's very hot almost all the time. And I was told that there was a place that was extremely cold far to the north of us all the time, and that it had something to do with the balance of, energy and heat and cold. And are we really hot far north of the continent?
So you're asking Carmina this, right?
Well, I was saying whoever was nearby. It very well might be Carmina.
Yeah, I think Carmina says yes, and Sarah is going to flip through the book she was flipping earlier and show you like a pretty one of the most accurate and colorful maps of the old continent that you've ever seen.
Whoa, that must be worth a lot of money.
Yes, those grimoires are all of them were unique. There aren't any other copies of them, so please be very careful.
Oh, it's okay. I'm not gonna touch them or do anything like that. They're yours. But thank you.
She nods. There were more of them where I come from, but I don't. But around here, they're very rare and precious.
Oh. Do you get to see where you come from very often?
There's a pause, and you can see. You're not quite sure if she's looking in the distance in the memories, or if she's looking outside of the shield at the scenery below. But she says, "No, I don't know how to go back."
Oh.
But this is fine. I'm learning a lot here, and I'm having a very exciting time in the school. I just hope the teachers know what they're doing a lot. Maybe I should. Should I tell them that they're heading towards something very dangerous? Do you think?
Saurora's eyes wide, and he's like, "Wait a minute." But Bacon said he said something about the Castle of Midnight, so surely they know, right?
Hopefully, yes, but it's very. I think it's a very foolish thing to do. If you do know where you're, if they are aware of everything, it's fine. They probably have it under control.
They are very smart. He's like thinking back on what Harmony was saying this morning. Oh boy. All right. He's gonna, with that in mind and like that a little bit of dread, he's gonna just sort of settle in and watch the wake clouds go by.
Okay.
Is Iroh here? Does he have a salamander?
No, Iroh is not here at the moment. There's a lot of it's more younger students who are present right now. More people from class 1A who haven't seen the school move too much. And Iroh, he's lived on uh, in the school his whole life, from what you know. So he's not interested in those things anymore. But basically, you're going to see a Baroness still wearing her pajamas, who's observing here. Clarisse de Noblefort is also present. Carmina and Sarah followed you. Greblin is here. Icarus is here. Um, Mors is here. Soji is here, and Zelfir is here.
Well, he didn't get to know any of them too well last year, but he'll give some waves. He'll definitely give some waves to Moors. I
Okay.
imagine being one of the other Abaddon, he was like, oh, this guy's definitely going to be the most friendly,
Yeah.
and at least tried to be friends with him.
Okay. So actually, yeah, more when you're going to wave at everyone. I think Baroness does a sleepy wave at you. Clarice uh, looks at you waving at her, and then like just keeps looking at you without doing anything, and then returns to looking at the scenery. Um, uh, Greblin is uh, going to do the equivalent of blushing for a giant frog. Icarus just like raises one hand to wave back at you, and Mors is okay. And before I do Mors, Soji is going to wave back at you, and um, I think Zelfia does not notice you. Morse comes towards you, though, and he says, "Hey, Saurora, so good to see you again. Uh, uh, it's been a while. How was your personal training?"
Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure I'd be back after that first year. Not because I didn't like it. I really liked it, but um, Harmony has his trepidations about this place. But it was nice. I think he decided that since I had learned a whole bunch here, that he had to go like double down and teach me all sorts of things about keeping balance. So it was really tough, but it was all right. How has your break been?
It's been great. I've figured out my Suaman by translating the tattoos on my body thanks to the library here. I know what my destiny is, so that I can ascend back. I'm destined to teach here. Isn't that great?
Teach? That is really impressive. Are you excited?
Yeah, it's easier to achieve than a lot of other destinies because I already know where the school is. All I have to do is survive the entire time and know a subject well enough to teach here. And some teachers teach stuff without knowing how to do it themselves. So even if I can't do any magic or psychic powers, I could still teach whatever subject I end up being very good at. What about you? Have you translated your birthmark yet? Well, he's gonna call it
No.
the Suaman.
Yeah. He says, no, I guess with how Harmony acts, I always just figured my destiny was keeping that balance, but that's kind of an eternal job now that I think about it.
It is. Suamans are tasks that can be finished. We don't really know where they come from, but I've actually read a book saying that it's probably the gods who created our species, the burials who decide the destiny of each Budan when they're born to sort of keep guiding us. But that's only a theory. Um, it's hard to see the patterns of all of our destinies, but I hope you get an interesting one or an easy one, something not too dangerous.
Yeah. I guess I kind of hope for that too, but at the same time, I mean, I guess maybe not for you, but it sounds kind of scary to me. I know that every that's what every Abaddon needs to do, but like passing on and being something completely different, that's a big change.
Yeah, I get that. My dad abandoned his destiny long time ago. Uh, he'd been tasked with killing one of the killing one of the biggest dragons in Gaia, and that hasn't been seen in millennia. So tough break for him.
That is really tough, but also like really impressive.
Well, he just didn't accomplish it. Didn't think he had it in him, and sometimes I think that he hoped I would have the same destiny, so that he could teach me what he'd learned about dragon killing. But we don't talk about that very much. What about your parents?
Oh, well, they've both accomplished theirs.
Oh, what were they? If it's
Hmm.
not too personal to ask. Sorry.
Well, um, my mother didn't really talk about my dad's that much. I think his was sort of a dark situation. Um, but hers was she was this, you know, I wouldn't say she ran an orphanage, but there were these kids that she had to see to adulthood, and I don't know if they were all destined for great things, but they were all really cool, and they were all like these young humans, and they wound up doing some really good things for their communities. They were
So
all orphans too, obviously, so it was sort of interesting. I think when I was very young, the last one was uh, sort of like a younger brother to me, or an older brother to me.
yeah, and when he reached adulthood, your mother's destiny was accomplished. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you should be proud of them. I uh, I don't really know how to feel about parents, you know, accomplishing them, but I uh, being born with a big task like this, it can be very difficult for those who don't make it, and I know my dad regrets not being able to follow through with his destiny a lot.
Well,
I catch him looking up at his at his incarnation scrolls every now and then, hoping like he wants to, like he's reconsidering, but he's way too old now.
I mean, there's always a little bit of time, and who knows? I think there's always a chance to find like a happy life outside of that. It really seems fun, even if it wasn't your destiny to teach here.
Yeah. Hey, if you want, I can help you with what I learned about translating suamans to decipher their meaning. It's far from an exact science, but I could help you get the general gist of it.
Maybe. Uh, that sounds that sounds pretty good, but I'm like, I guess I don't know if I want to know yet. Is that like really bad for an Abaddon?
No, I get it. Uh, it I only started translating it early because I thought it was going to take me way more time to figure it all out. But it's stressful and it's also very personal. So take the time that you need to piece it together.
Okay.
Just know that we gotta
Yeah.
help each other as red-haired, red-winged evidence.
Yeah, we're kind of a rarity,
Yeah,
except for both of my parents and maybe what your dad's like.
yeah. I think you're based on what people told me about your dad being a weird elemental creature. He does not look like my dad at all.
No, no, I meant my Abudan dad,
Yeah,
not my Harmony dad.
he smiles. And then the school bell rings, and he says, "Oh, we gotta head out to lunch and eat quickly because Magus's class is afterwards.
Okay, yes. I will see you there. I'm gonna go get something from my bedroom.
Okay.
And so he's gonna go and rush and get some home cooked food, which is probably all right.
Okay. Do you?
It's not magical cooking.
Yeah. Two questions. Are you going to go and eat in the mess hall or just in your room? And also, are you going to go to Omar Magus's class? You should take into account that this class it teaches us spells, the Arcana Sephira, but it also teaches about how to create a Sanctum Sanctorum and potential protections against spells. So a lot of students take this class even if they're not magical.
Yeah. In that case, he will take it, even if it's like specifically to like ask him about this thing that his Harmony dad gave him.
Oh, the amulet.
Yeah.
The amulet is more Professor Iscariot's domain. Professor
Well,
of
not like what it
magical
can.
magic.
Well, in its facet for him to protect himself from magic, I guess. But yes, that's true. It would also be sort of Rascariot. But
Yeah.
I think he'd go for that.
Okay. Cool.
It's always good to know, like, a lot of psychic powers are. Do you know that such a power exists? Then you get additional resistances.
Professor Magus doesn't teach psychic powers, only magical ones.
Oh no, I figured that there would be some spells that also function that way. But if not, if it seems like it would be a good way to learn how to defend yourself against magic, which is something that Harmony seems to really want him to do, he would probably take it or try to take it.
All right. It's Professor Cho that teaches most of the psychic powers and how to wield. The wielding and combat of psychic powers, combat and magic projection are all taught by Headmistress Drevius.
Cool.
Yep. Okay.
That is a.
Hmm?
But as far as where he eats, he will probably take his stuff to the mess hall just a bit, and he probably unless it's Moore's, he probably won't go and like seek out anyone to sit with though.
Okay.
Who's that kid? He's gonna, if he does though, he's going to ask. By the way, who's that guy? I don't remember him. Pointing at Darius if he is in the room or talking about him, describing him or not.
I think like a lot of the students are new to you because they arrived much more recently, and you started here like towards the end of the last year.
Yeah.
So for example, there's some students you're not sure if they were there or not when you were there. You have no memory. You have only very small vague memories of Clarice. You know her. You know her name somehow. Angela is new. Baroness was already there. I think Greblin is new. Icarus is new. Iroh was already there, but he, I believe Lorena is new. Sarah is new. Soji is new, and Zelfir is new.
Lots of new people. Yeah. Wait, isn't Zelfir a teacher?
No, Zelfir is a student here.
I always thought he was a teacher. Okay, so that makes it even more interesting. He was probably looking at him while they were in the dome, like the observatory, and just being like, I can't tell which way this guy is facing because he is mostly smoke.
If you're standing right behind him, it's hard to tell, where if he's looking towards you or away from you.
In that case, there's way too many people for him to ask about. He's going to be like, oh, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? He's probably going to get possibly frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll probably just be content to eat then, especially considering they might be approaching a deadly terrain soon.
Yeah. If you talk with Moors, you're going to get like some of the details that are written here. what people's basic powers are, where they come from, stuff like this. You might not get like everything. For example, you don't know that much about Clarice because it's hard to remember anything about Clarice.
Yeah, what about her? Who? Who? I don't know.
She was in your class all year last year. um, yeah. For example, like you don't know that Soji has the blood of the dragon, for example.
Oh yeah, like none of the special additional bits of probably not even their homelands for the most part.
You do know some of their like Wars does tell you about some of their homelands and
Will
stuff
you
like
tell
that.
me about Callus, the one who's from Callus?
So which one is it who's from Callis again?
Oh,
Mors.
Morris is from Callus.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh well,
Mors is from Callis.
what's
Um,
that like?
uh, I didn't travel around that much, so I don't know that much about it. It's just floating islands over a sea of poisonous gas.
So it's like a lot like here, only you can't land.
Yeah, basically, it's a lot. It's just floating stuff like the island, like the school, like our school.
Got it. It sounds like a fairy tale place.
Yeah, well,
To people, to someone who's raised here, I know it probably wasn't that interesting to you.
no. Actually, it's the opposite. I find land that is really vast and that you can land on, and that has mostly one sentient population in the form of humans. It's very different. And it's very fascinating to see how humans manage to all have different cultures based on their regions, despite the fact that they're all the same species. You'd think they'd be more united, but they're not.
Yeah, like from where I'm from, the people in Nanway, uh, they can be very nice, but they are so very different. I didn't anticipate them as well. Anyways, it was very surprising to go from being primarily around them to a trip to the Empire.
Did you go to the Empire? Did you ever go to the Empire? Because the
Well,
Namway is technically part of the Empire, but or at least was
never
until recently.
never like the seat of the capital. Obviously, um, I wasn't I was allowed to get near. I probably wasn't allowed to get as far as I did towards like the outer villages, just north west of Nanway.
That is a long way away from the Namway, but if your family of Ibudans traveled a little bit, there's lots of places you could have gone to.
Yeah.
It's just like usually you kind of want to hide the fact that you can fly because the
Yeah.
Inquisition will murder you.
Oh yeah. Was this Moors or you talking?
No, this is me. This is me
Okay.
talking.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, I don't think that he would have ever gone to Abel. He might have traveled himself by foot out to like one of the outer principalities, but he would never have actually gone to Abel or to any of the bigger cities.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which that said, I think Ebudon have probably the easiest way of hiding themselves than any of the other beings.
Yeah, make your wings disappear. Or very,
Yes.
very small.
Yep. And then you'll be fine. You're just another dude.
Yeah. Daimas can have it easy as well.
I think that he would have traveled only really to Kushistan or maybe like island hopped into Bajo.
Okay.
But nowhere further than one principality away.
Technically, Bajo is not Bajo, but Kashmir is technically still part of the empire, I believe,
Oh,
because
that is
they
cool.
because there is a war there for the Azure Alliance that's trying to take over this country
Oh,
at this moment. So it means it does not it's not independent enough, and the empire is helping them fight back against the Azure Alliance. Anyways,
I was gonna say they are they are bad supply lines for the Azure Alliance. They're gonna have a hard time getting there. Go ahead.
the Azure Alliance has a naval mastery that the Empire of Able does not have.
Oh, okay, then that
They
does help.
Yeah. In fact, like the Empire. Oh no, I don't think it's aligned with the Empire because the Empire had to. Um, the Empire had to fire its agents from the Order of CL for the agents to be allowed to step into Kashmir as non-members of the Empire and help. So it mustn't be affiliated in any way.
Gotcha.
Okay, so after that class, you are going to go to Professor Omar Magus's class. So you know that the school of Eldria was originally created by someone called Magus because it's part of the Order of Magus. You never, yeah, I don't think you've ever found out why uh, Omar like has the family name if he's like family or uh, uh, if he's like a descendant from that Magus or not. But yeah, let me have
There's
a
a
look.
lot of spooky names floating around.
Yeah, um, yeah, it's going to be in uh, this class. So this is the class where uh, a lot of this is the meditation class or the arena for official duels and practices, but it's also just a nice uh, just a nice classroom. And currently, you're having your theory of magic there, a class there, which has a lot of students in it in class A. So Angela Baptisti is there to learn creation. Baroness is studying chaos magic there. Carmina is studying light and peace spells. Grebling is there for the Sanctum Sanctorum. Icarus is Icarus and Iroh do not usually take any interest in this class. Moors takes careful notes, and Sarah takes this class to understand magical powers of any creatures she could summon. What is your you signed up for this class? So what is your particular your particular interest is knowing ways to counter magic if you ever come
Yes.
across it. Okay.
He wants to learn all about the different spells, the different possible effects magic could have on him and other people,
Mhm.
how to prevent or counter negative spells, and just also, to know the possible benefits of magic that he might find interesting or useful.
Okay.
To if he finds somebody who would be willing to help him with that. By the way, tell me if Iroh falls asleep.
Okay. So Iroh is not going to fall asleep. In fact, he is going to do the opposite. The class starts, and you want to pay attention, and it seems that what Professor Magus is doing is saying is interesting because a lot of the students are listening. But you're towards the back of the class, and you feel a sort of hot spark hit you in the back of the head, and when you turn around, you uh, you see Iroh just like whistling like nothing happened, but you can. Oh no! Do you have you don't do you have you activated the psychic power to perceive matrices or not?
I have not.
Okay, so yeah, you see Iroh and Icarus snickering uh, uh, at you, and like the back of your and the smell of like burnt hair coming from the back of your head.
Did they singe off my entire ponytail?
No, he just stands like when you touch it, it's only barely singed, but it's like a spot.
Okay. He looks back confused. Is his salamander on him?
No, it's not in this class.
Well, he like kind of gives him a suspicious look and then turns back to the front of the class.
Okay, you're going to see another spark fly past you and hit Greblin in the wing. She yelps, and Magus turns around to see what's happening, but when when Gremlin turns around, she can't. Uh, she doesn't seem to know where it came from, and Iroh's keeping a straight face. What do you do?
Hmm. This is gonna like be a goofy idea.
Mm-hmm.
Could he through create? Wait, no, hold on. I gotta see if he can even create ice with his create cold and like maintain it.
Yeah, you could definitely create ice. Because it's like you can create some intensities of stuff, right?
Yes, I can create. I can create plenty, but I can only maintain 5.
Okay, that's uh, it takes time from between the moment when you create something and when you have to maintain it for it to like pass from
Melt.
one power to pass from like slow down the psychic potential thing. Blah 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 blah. Presence of cold. An intensity of 5 is snow. An intensity of 10 is ice.
Ah.
An intensity of 20 is an iceberg. An intensity of 30 is a polar storm, and an intensity of 50 is a glacial area.
Well, my idea here was to create a very incredibly smooth pane of ice with
Mm-hmm.
which he could like sort of reflect and like look back at uh the dude behind him.
Okay.
Do you
Yes.
think I could do that?
Oh yeah, definitely. You create a mirror in your head. Yeah, that's. Listen, you have less powers than a magician. You like wizards have way more spells that they need to that are very useful. Feel free to act as creative as you can with the powers that you do have, and I'm definitely going to allow you things like creating a mirror in your hand and stuff like this, as
Oh,
long as it's like we're gonna say it's an intensity of 10.
okay.
Uh,
I got an intensity of 10 then.
yeah, and you don't need to roll projection for something that you're creating that you're touching in your hand.
Okay. In that case, he creates just like a little mirror, a little like round mirror of like glass in his hands. It's probably partially translucent, but he sort of frosts the back so that he only really has to pay attention to the reflection.
Okay.
And he's just going to sort of watch him.
Okay. So you can see Iroh. He doesn't seem to concentrate, but he's going to point to Darius's head, making Icarus snicker. And you can see a spark is like starting to shoot out of his finger, but it stops. And your mirror cracks in your hand and starts to melt incredibly fast. And you can feel this like cold deep within your soul, and
Oh boy.
you can and you when you turn around, you can see this like dark aura coming from Zelfir, who's just floating next to the class, and he just activated his nemesis powers, which cancel magic and psychic powers.
Would you say that I know what Nemesis is?
Yeah, you know at least in theory that this ghost is using nemesis powers.
Okay, in that case, he'll like very gently set down the melting ice so as not to make a noise, and wipe off his hands, which are undoubtedly covered in melted ice now, and not make a scene.
Okay. So yeah, you can see Iroh gets like angry, and he doesn't seem to have noticed Zelfir. And when he tries to shoot a spark again, he has like blood that starts to trickle down his nose because he's using psychic powers with a huge penalty right now, and he's not able to use a spark anymore. So he just gives up, and Zelfir's aura closes, disappears basically. So yeah.
Oh man, I probably missed the introduction. Now everything's going to be really hard to understand.
What do you mean?
To the class. Like, he's probably given the basics, and now I'm already into the next bit. I don't understand what's going on.
But you don't need to understand what's going to go on, because Sarah raises her hand and she asks, "I'm sorry, Professor, but I'm very interested in necromancy. Could you tell us more about necromancy now, please?" Um, and Professor Magus has a pause, and he says, "Well, yes, students, of course. If you have a subject of magic that you're interested in, feel free to ask me. I want you to be able to adapt yourselves to the situations that arise. If you have problems, you can come and see me about this. And we haven't covered necromancy yet, so we might as well do it now. Uh, so, necromancy is a form of magic that is opposed to every other kind of magic. If you learn necromancy, it's very hard to learn anything else, and it is usually frowned upon. Can anybody tell me why it's frowned upon in the magical community? Do you know?
I do. I know that it's sort of like the opposite of magic, and that it is some sort of corruption of magic, but not why.
Okay.
So he's gonna remain silent and listen, figure it out.
Yeah. So you know, Moores raises his hand and says, "Because it brings back dead people without them wanting to." And Omar says, and Professor Magus says, "No, no, no, no. That's merely recycling the body to do something else with. No, the real reason necromancy is frowned upon is because it's instead of working with the flow of souls, it takes away energy from the flow of souls. It makes all of magic weaker every time that a necromancy spell is cast, and the more necromancy there is in an area, the more this area can become corrupted by necromancy. It is believed that if necromancy keeps growing and we have no way of stopping that growth, we have no way of stopping all necromancers from casting necromancy spells or ghosts simply manifesting. If it keeps going like this, at some point there won't be any more energy in the flow of souls. Living beings won't be able to be birthed, and the only things that will remain in existence will be the undead. It's a slow process, but it goes faster and faster. That's why um, those who know about the flow of souls and how necromancy disrupts this, creating a sort of opposite of magic. That's why those people are fearful of it. But um, and that's one of the most important things to know about necromancy. And Clarice raises her hand and she says, "Couldn't we just kill all undead creatures?" And Zelfir says, "Hey, I'm right here."
Oh, I didn't know it could speak like a normal human voice. That's cool though.
He has a sort of like echoey voice. I decided I was going to do his voice like this, so he says, "I'm right here."
Spooky.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is
trying to
spooky.
like. I think I'll like whisper more when I try to, so it's more like, "I'm right here."
Yes, but he was being loud because he was indignant right then.
Yeah, exactly. And so like his voice always sounds like it's like an inhale, like he's speaking while he's inhaling, but obviously he doesn't have any lungs.
Yes. No lungs.
Yeah, and um, Sarah says, "So we don't teach necromancy at this school because of this, correct?" And Magnus says, "Yes, that is correct. We've had necromancer students in the past, and um, those people usually go on to try to understand necromancy and how it could be reintegrated into the flow of souls somehow. But uh, usually the philosophy of the school is that necromancy has very negative effects on the real world." And uh, Sarah says, "So we don't have a good relationship with most necromantic creatures." And Magus says, "Most of them, we're neutral to most of them. Unfortunately, there are a lot of necromancers in the Order of Magus. They're a school of magic we can't afford not to practice as we fight the Order of Yehuda. Do you have any questions for Magus? Because Sarah turns to you like, we've got to learn more about this.
He raises his hand and says, "Are there any notably really good necromancers?"
Well, we know that there were very powerful necromancers in the past. Some of the strongest ones used to be divas, but all species have had their share of necromancers. A lot of necromancers even turn themselves into undead to be able to keep on living, and some of them are even summoners. They are able to use powers on other undead because they are in the same category of beings. And there are some naturally occurring undead that we're neutral to. And there's one instance of a fighter becoming an undead just out of his fighting skill. As the legend goes, he defeated death itself in a duel and was simply allowed to live on forever.
He immediately wants to look at Sarah and say, "Got it," but no, he can't do that. That'd be suspicious. He's gonna say, "So he lives forever? What happened to him?"
Well, the legend says that this warrior was legendary beyond anything else, that he was the best warrior of his generation, and while he was at war, his wife's neck snapped. She fell down the stairs, and he refused to accept her death, so he tore his own heart out and waited for death to come. And when one of the three fates came to him, he dueled against her without his heart and beat her, demanding that his wife be returned to him. And she instead conceded defeat and told him she would never touch him, that he would never die. He would never again see his beloved because he had dared in this life or in the other, and that he would be ripped from the flow of souls. That is his curse. The legend says that he is burnt by sunlight and that he's retreated from the world ever since.
Oh, but that doesn't sound like he was a bad guy. He just had something he wanted to, keep safe.
The best people don't start. Everyone thinks that they're not evil until they're. But it's their actions in the world that end up deciding that. And well, let's just say that so far we're not quite sure if where he stands on good or evil. But just being a necromantic creature means that lots of people despise him for his very existence, even in the supernatural community. And there's nothing really wrong about undead who didn't mean to be born who didn't mean to become undead, like Zelfir. And Zelfir just nods.
Yeah. He doesn't know what else to ask, but that's both that's like sort of middle of the road. He can feel good about this person not being wholly evil, but he also doesn't feel like this is gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. What is? Yeah. I forgot to write him down in Magus's class. But Zelfir is present to learn how to cancel magic.
That's a good point. He just like messes with everybody else's trials.
No, he like know how to use his nemesis powers more correctly, but not to annoy other students.
Yeah, that would be something I would do in real life, but this isn't what he would do.
Yeah. Um. Okay. And let's see. Do you have any other questions about necromancy and the undead?
Oh, I don't. I'm good.
Okay. Cool. So, um, there's a sort of rumble as the entire school stops moving and it starts to slowly lower itself towards the ground. But it's not going to actually land. It's going to stay pretty high up in the sky. It's just going to like place itself between two mountains, and then there's going to be like a shimmer, and electricity and magic is going to start flowing all throughout the school. And Professor Magus says, "Oh, fantastic! We are in for a treat, children. We're about Headmistress Drugus is about to is about to has ordered for us to enter the real world again."
Oh boy.
So yeah,
Excited.
there's like magical energy flowing everywhere, like lots of different colors. It even like it's so powerful that it becomes visible, at least from within the shield. And there's a flash, and you and the and suddenly like the clouds aren't moving in swirls anymore. They're moving more in a realistic way, you know, and everything looks a bit less dreamy and a bit more consistent, you know, physical, and you're back in the physical world. Okay. If after that, Professor Magus is going to keep teaching everyone, you know, simple spells and stuff like this.
Very
And
good. I will stick around and observe each
mhm,
and be interested.
okay,
Never mind. I'll do that if I ever get the chance.
yeah.
I was thinking of like counter IRO strategies.
Counter Iroh's what?
Like counter IO strategies, like how to in a not entirely threatening way, like also throw sparks at IRO.
You're during the rest of the class, you want to throw sparks back at him?
No. I mean, if he starts throwing sparks, I might do
No,
something. But
he's gonna stop like with the nosebleed and the headache that
okay,
he has. Like
yeah,
basically, he was forced to spend like fatigue points because of the nemesis powers.
gotcha.
Um. Okay. So that's the end of the school day. After that, all of you can go to uh, yeah. After that, there's a dinner and then a little bit of free time before curfew.
All right, and Sora will ask a refresher on what the rules are for leaving school grounds.
Do you ask that? Who do you ask that?
I will ask our teacher, the Magus,
Okay.
if before we leave.
Um, so yeah, you go and speak with him, and he says, "Oh well, you you may return to you may ask a teacher that knows the spell like me to return you to the forest of Namwe anytime. I know you are a transfer student. You're keep taking classes, but it's a bit early to return. Don't you think?"
Oh no, I didn't mean to go back home. I was talking about just like, we just landed in this new interesting place and I
You
can
haven't
fly.
landed. You haven't landed. You're still flying between two mountains.
Well, we're hovering, right?
Yeah,
And this is going to be like the castle's resting place for a time.
probably.
And I can like fly down and, go explore.
Oh yes. So Magus says, "Well, let's just say that it could be very dangerous around here.
Okay.
It can be very cold, and who knows what sort of creatures could be walking around the mountains. No, it's better if we stick to the rules and nobody leaves the school."
Okay, I will stay here. I just wanted to know, and thank you.
What
And
you?
he immediately leaves. No, I'm kidding. He stays here.
All right, good. So you you go, who are you going to be sitting with when you go and eat?
I'm thinking. I would like Moore's is the safe choice. I guess I'll go with Moore's. Let's chill with Moore's.
Right.
You have to stick with your posse. It's high school.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, Moors and Soji, they're talking about Eden when you arrive to sit at uh, the table with them, and you don't know any sports team of Eden. You don't know any of the rules. You barely
Yeah.
have an idea of what the what the sports is like.
I
Uh,
was gonna say I don't even know if I know Eden.
yeah, but yeah, they're talking like super passionately about this sport, and um, since it's mostly a human sport, like Soji is really interested, but Morse is keeps asking like, do they check if? I wonder if they check people's bodies completely, or if I could participate in a team. And yeah, it's not necessarily a conversation that your character knows a lot about. Um,
The only other fire psychic here is Iroh.
Go ahead, go and speak with Iroh. That could be a fun conversation.
Well, if he has
Or
his like whole thing is he does totally want to go and talk to Iroh Salamander is the thing.
yeah, Iroh Salamander is like basically like going and nibbling on pieces of wood from the fireplace every now and then.
Oh, totally. I would I would I don't know what role this would be if you wanted there to be a role, but I would totally love to like there's probably countless chips of wood almost muted myself from Nanway in my bag. Could I like try to like lure him over and offer him one?
Oh yeah, definitely. So like you see that like I don't know, Baroness tries this and it immediately goes at her. But when
Oh,
you try, it walks over to you and like licks it from your hands. Um,
yeah.
and you have this moment when Clarice looks at you, and yeah, she looks kind of sad at what's happening, but then she like goes back to looking at her uh, uh, porridge. Yeah, and the salamander like it puts the pieces of wood in its mouth and then moves them to the fire on its tail to burn it against its tail.
Ooh. He's going to like just be like whispering to the salamander and he's like, I wonder what your name is. And feed it all of the little crumbs he has. So like toss them onto the fire if the salamander will let him.
Okay.
And generally just acquaint himself with Iroh's creation.
Okay. And uh, you are going to hear uh, Iroh yelling, "Hey, what the hell are you doing with Bob?" Um, and yeah, the
Bob's a good
salamander
name.
just like runs back to him, and you can see there's his aura is becoming visible. There's like a red aura around Iroh, like you know,
Yeah.
in the shape of fire, and he looks pissed. In fact,
He
you can see some like lit ashes at the tip of his ears and at the tip of his hair.
He's going to immediately stand up and say, "I was just feeding him. Wait, there's nothing he can't have, is there?"
And Iroh says, "It's my salamander. Don't you dare do anything to him, all right?" And like you can see like it crawls up to Iroh's neck and like just like nibbles on his ears.
On the fire there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Iroh just like shoos it. But he also tells you, if you do this ever again, I will I will wreck you like outside of class. Got it?
But I was feeding him, and he looks sort of like crestfallen at that.
And yeah.
So he moves away.
Iroh says, "Well, you don't get to feed him. He's mine."
But that doesn't mean that he's mine if I feed him, right?
Stop trying to make excuses for yourself. I'll burn you. I fucking will. And like at this point, like Icarus puts his hand on his shoulder and tells him, "There, I think he understood. I think he's gonna calm down. I think he's going to let Bob go." And Iroh, he looks like he doesn't want to stop being angry, but like the fire at the edge of his ears just dissipates, and he sits back down. But he's gonna like glare at you every now and then during the meal.
Yeah, Sora will not push the issue anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really want Iroh to be a sort of like angry rival to either
No, that's
you.
totally fine.
But it's not gonna work very well on you because of how like nice your character is. But it's definitely gonna work on Darius. And I cannot wait for there to be a duel between the two of them. That's good because that will be so much fun.
I look forward to that as well. I just want to be friends with the salamander by the time this is up. That would be my favorite thing, other than Gremlin, but we know all about that. Yeah. So he'll be a little bit sullen for the rest of the meal. He'll stay with Moors and who's the other one? Is that the other?
Soji.
Soji. He'll stay with them, but he won't be like adding to the conversation very much.
Okay. I think the other two will like ask you stuff like who's your favorite team and stuff like this, and maybe even fill you in on the basics of what Eden is if you are interested.
He will be interested. He'll ask about it a little bit. Like he'll be like quiet at first or like distant, but as they continue to show their passion for the sport, he'll become more interested and ask about the teams and ask about how you can go and see them.
Yeah. Right. So this is a bit long, but this is like the description of. I think like they start to explain, but it's like confused and they're so passionate that like they don't get information across. So Sarah, overhearing this, is going to like open one of her books to page 18 and start like come over and read it, but she's also going to and she but before she does, she says it's very interesting. Maybe we could make a team with the people from the school and who look human enough to enter in competitions. And she opens the book and she says, if there's anything that really awakens the interest of practically all the people and cultures of Gaia, it's the common interest for Eden. It is a sport of masses that attracts the attention of hundreds of thousands of people throughout the entire world and has managed to become a true social phenomenon. Its origin is very old, and for what it is and for what is known, was played even before the arrival of the Messiah,
Oh
Abel.
boy, that is quite a while.
He hasn't been around for, well, like he's older than the Empire, but it's like in the general history of Gaia, that's not very long.
Yeah.
Some historians even theorize that perhaps it was not even developed by men, although naturally everybody denies it. The rules of Eden pit two teams of 6 people whose goal is to project a heavy ball into the net of their rival. It is played in a round stadium enclosed by high walls and filled with columns between 14 and 15 feet high. The ball can be struck with fists, feet, elbows, or head, and is free to bounce between the columns or the walls. In fact, many of the best passes and plays are done taking advantage of seemingly random bounces. The sport calls for strong physical contact, both in the form of collisions and attacks to the opposing team in the form of punches and kicks. However, no confrontation can last more than 3 seconds, or, in game terms, a single turn of blows. Like she really reads this line out loud. She does mention in combat terms while she's like translating this, and then she pauses, looks up, looks around, and goes back to reading.
Yeah. He's like, that must be some sort of Eden term I don't
Yeah,
understand.
both Soji and Morse are confused at this talk, but they're like, yeah, they're both like nodding and nodding all around, and you can see Soji is like drawing the placement of the columns for you on a napkin and the different configurations to show them to you. Um, After after a confrontation of 3 seconds, it is mandatory to wait for 30 seconds before initiating a new attack. Another possibility is using the ball to hit your adversaries hard enough that it really causes damage. Uh, Even as the ball is only lever, it is sufficiently heavy to take a player out. A game lasts 4 sets of 15 minutes each, between which there is a brief rest in order that the player can recover. To assure the correct enforcement of the rules, the official games have 4 referees who watch the fouls and control the time of the confrontation. As a general rule, matches are played on ground level, but the best players can get to dispute parts of the encounter jumping on the columns of the stadium. This is due to the popularity of this sport, where there are thousands of players in Gaia, among which exists a very small percentage that have developed key abilities. Consequently, the great stars are even able to take prodigious jumps, move at an inhuman speeds, and extrude their physical energy into the ball to give their shots greater power. Because of the incredible visual spectacle of the game, it is no wonder people cheer such gymnastics and consider the abilities of their idols as mere game talent. Soji says, um, "Well, your book is really accurate. Yeah, that's why I'm studying here. I want to become the best Eden player by developing my key abilities, and uh, uh, I'm gonna be the best Eden player the world has ever seen one day."
I don't think I don't think I'd be very good at this sport, but it does sound really interesting.
Well, if
Maybe if
they
I could use my wings.
Yeah, no, that's something we discussed with Morse. But anybody who can literally fly could just take the ball and carry it past the enemies to strike a goal. That would definitely not be allowed. Besides, the sport takes the uh, main idea that it's played by humans. But if key powers are allowed, maybe someday your psychic powers would be allowed too.
And I have an idea of what I could do. Oh, well, it would be a bit. I don't know how flashy their key techniques get. Maybe they can,
It's getting more and
strike
more
explosive balls.
it's
Blows.
getting
What?
it's getting more and more flashy. I'm currently working on a way to use my ki to intimidate other players into submission.
Oh, that is one way to do it. I was surprised. I didn't expect a sport to like actually involve punching an enemy player.
Well, Oliver Shivat, they have Oliver the Varja, they have sports that are just punching people. They call it martial arts.
Oh, that does sound. And it's for fun?
Most of the time, but it's also for training and becoming better combatants. It's just, well, the nobility uses it as fun.
Okay.
I do know I do know a little bit about that because it's one of the things I need to learn is to hit pretty hard.
Well, that makes sense for Eden. All right. If I can't use my wings, I don't think I'd be very good at it. But who knows? You're right. There are enough people here. We might even be able to make two opposing teams if we got almost everyone in on it.
Um, yeah.
Everyone in Class A, that is. I'm sure there's more classes.
During this entire time, you can see that Icarus looks like he finds this discussion really interesting. But when he makes a move to like get up and come towards you, Iroh just like grabs his arm and sits him back down next to him.
Oh. We could get Bob to be the goalie.
That makes a couple of people laugh.
Okay. He'll probably get into the theory crafting ideas of, hey, if I hope he might get into that with them if they are not like rolling their eyes at the idea of other supernatural powers being used, like what the people around them could do. Like he probably has all sorts of crazy ideas of what Baroness would be able to do if she was allowed to use illusion magic on the field. How many balls are there? Which hoop is ours?
Barons doesn't use illusion.
Oh, it says she's an illusionist. I forgot.
Oh,
Illusionist, the class,
yeah, the
not the
class.
spells. Still, there's all sorts of weird things she could do with chaos magic too.
Yeah, definitely. Not even without having to participate in the match at all. She could just be like, "You guys are unlucky. You guys are lucky.
Yes.
You open roll 5 times more often."
Yes.
Stuff like that.
That would be pretty good. So Baroness's team will probably win, but I don't think that we should disinclude her all the same.
Luck isn't everything. That's what like Morse tells. Soji tells you like even if I was talent is more important than luck.
But what
And
if we
hard
put
work.
you and her on the same team? We might have to split you two up then.
Well, the problem is that she has a tail that gives Daima's extra balance. That is really not fair. But if she's not very good at fighting hand to hand, that definitely compensates.
I figured and I meant that as in like you are probably gonna be the best at the game, but luck for everyone is also really powerful.
And
this is just him theory crafting with them, and
yeah.
There's a whole bunch of stuff he's probably going to go into. Like Zephyr is a ghost. What if does he have the same problem as us with wings and stuff like that?
Yeah. Okay. At some point, Clarice comes over to where you are, and she says, she asks, "So, this team that you're making, I have a question about the rules.
Oh,
You said it's based on hand-to-hand combat. Do people need to? Would it be okay to wear gloves?" And Soji says, "No, gloves have been outlawed because some players had pieces of metal under it to hit harder their opponents. So it's not possible to use them." And like Clarice looks like disappointed.
Well, I mean, in the official league, I'm sure for like our little game, gloves would probably be fine, right?
And she looks down at her gloved hands, looks back up, and she says, "I understand." And she starts to leave.
Hmm. Did you hear my bit about the? Okay, okay.
I like she heard you as well, but she took Soji's answer way too much to heart.
That's fine. I was actually worried that I was muted for that because I looked down at my little button here and it was blinking red. Okay. Um. In that case, that will be sad. He will like consider that, but he won't like go after her right now or anything.
Okay. Um, Night falls. There's a bit of
Night
free time
falls.
before curfew. So what do
Yeah.
you do?
Oh, he was gonna. He's probably not gonna go exploring outside, though. He will like sort of fly high, as high as he can, with as long as he knows he's still within that barrier,
Mm-hmm.
and just try to like peer out and see if he can see anything, or if this is just like vast mountainous regions.
It is mostly a vast mountainous region, and you can see the shield if you activate your psychic power that allows you to see other psychic powers.
Yes, he will do that on occasion.
All right. It costs you a psychic point every time, though, right? If I
Yeah,
remember correctly. So yeah,
it
not
does. He'll just do it once to like gauge his position, and then be like, "There I am. I'm gonna stick right here and not go up any further."
not go beyond the shield that both controls memories and for people who are not invited and heat and
Yes.
stuff.
If he were to leave, would he forget that it was there?
Um, Not necessarily. It depends on what parameters Headmistress Assange Drovius puts into place. Sometimes she will not allow people to remember the current position of the school if they are leaving at a time when the school is trying to stay hidden. Um, but most of the or even any memories of the school apart from things that people have learned there. So it
Oh,
depends. It depends really on the circumstances.
he's not looking forward to that possibility. But all right.
Mhm.
His free time will be mostly spent sort of like exploring. He hasn't. Not only is this school something he hasn't been to in a while, it was very interesting before, but he also has not been to Hoffman yet. So
Mhm.
he's just looking around, see what he can see.
Okay.
Uh, he probably did this in the first year. If he flies up to the top of this pyramid and looks down, what does he see?
It's like a chimney that is constantly pouring uh, um, brightly colored smoke, and every day the smoke is a different color. In fact, every hour is a different color, so it's a good way to tell the time because it cycles through every 24 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, that is
It's
very.
currently bright pink.
Ooh. Well, all right. He imagines that might just be like this might be the clock, and down there might be a clock keeper. He's kind of interested in seeing who runs that, but that will also be for another time.
It
He's
it
probably not going to go and make a nuisance of himself on the first day.
it looks like it's coming from the core, so you probably don't have the permission to know too much about
Okay,
that weird smoke.
that is all right. Um. Oh, lasers! I thought like something was shooting out at me. No.
No,
Um.
it's just
Uh.
smoke.
In that case, he's going to eventually like settle back into his room for the evening and like get everything comfortable. Now that he is also sort of looking around, he realizes there are no animals here or plants. This place is a little bit desolate. He might go and like see if the garden is faring well, which he knows it is. They've got magic to keep it everything alive and healthy, but he always made attempts to naturally improve the lives of the plants before.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, you spend a little bit of time with the different birds and the squirrels and the other creatures that belong in the school. Of course, most of them are mutated species. As described in the Arcana Exit, any species that stay within a very magical place will inevitably become stop being natural creatures and become between world or elementals. Yeah, those like the squirrels have extra eyes, multiple tails, and patches of weird color on their furs that are consistent with all of the squirrels around here and stuff like this.
That makes them even easier to name and remember the names of them. So that's good for him. He's going to try to give a name to everyone.
Okay. And yeah, like every single creature has uh, something weird and unique about them. Like a lot of them are just so for example, like you're going to see like a white bird that's an elemental of darkness and that just like has shadow dripping out from beneath its wings, or a you've already seen a rat that bleeds ice in your
That
previous.
bleeds ice.
Yeah,
Okay.
you saw a wounded rat that was like bleeding puddles of ice onto the
Oh,
floor and stuff like this.
poor. Was he like unhelpably?
I like if you saw it, you probably helped it since you have animal empathy and stuff like this. I'm gonna
Okay.
say if
I was
that's
gonna
fine with
say,
you.
oh, that's fine. Yeah. I was just like, is it like beyond hope injured, or was it just like this rat has a cut on its tail and it's like trailing little ice cubes?
Yeah, it had a cut from a fight with what might have been a cat or a magical version of that.
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, he would have like been very interested and hopefully tried to help it. But yeah, he will
Okay.
spend his time and try to give them names. Remember the names of the ones he gave last year.
Okay.
Um, and sort of enjoy this little pocket of nature amidst this incredibly supernatural uh building here
Okay.
before bed.
Um, so you, at some point, you hear a flapping of wings coming towards you as you were like flying around the different parts of the garden, and you see this time his clothing is armor with gigantic wings in his back that seem to all be made out of out of like green and red metal. And it's Professor Francois Bacon coming to you to
Oh,
say. Um, Young Flasting, it's almost time for curfew. Uh,
oh,
why don't you come back downstairs with me?
yes, I will do that. I'm sorry, I was losing track of time.
That's quite all right. There's so many magical creatures here that mutate from the norm. I'm always fascinated by all of them and how how the magic of the school made them different from who they what they were previously. It's nothing remains unchanged forever in this school.
Yeah. There seem to be more of them than last year. Do you think we'll ever like need to increase edible plants on campus?
Well, no, every now and then we have to purge one of the species, unfortunately. The bugs especially tend to evolve into blatodias,
Ah,
magic eating bugs, the West. And
I
it's impossible
guess
to get
that
rid
is
of them. There's always a new one flying in.
yeah. And he nods sadly, but he also knows that that's sort of like a nature thing. If you
Yeah,
can't get more resources, you gotta reduce the population.
yeah. You were here probably for the last Latodia outbreak. You know those like big creatures from the monster book.
Yes.
Those are horrible to deal with when you're a mage.
Yeah. So he nods and says, uh no, I all right, let's go back.
Okay. You that night you are woken up.
Uh-oh.
You are woken up by your other neighbor, uh, Darius. There is loud bumping and grunting coming from his bedroom, and you hear
Oh.
him saying, "No, stay here! Don't stop!" Um,
uh
And you also hear him saying, "Leaf of Age, help me! No, pull harder! Come on!"
Okay. He's gonna like sit there for like maybe like 3 rounds of in-game time. Like, what's going on? That's unusual. And then he's going to like slowly get up in his pajamas and like move over to. Well, he's gonna step outside of his door. That nothing bad happens if he steps outside after curfew, just outside the dorm, is there?
Dude, probably not.
Okay, probably not. Let's see, because he does it, and he's gonna go over and just sort of knock on the room,
Okay.
on the door.
You hear Darius saying, "Bit busy,
What?
bit busy." Hey,
Is everything okay?
no, 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 no! Close the window. The window. Um, and like you hear sound like glass breaking
Oh,
once, then twice, then the third time. What do you
oh.
do?
Should I call it a teacher?
No, no, this is fine. I'm okay. And you hear another voice that you immediately forget what the voice sounds like, but you remember the words, and it says, "Yes, a little bit of help would be nice."
Okay. Uh, well, did he say on what help would be nice?
A little bit of help would be nice.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna step inside and I'll try to signal a teacher.
Okay.
And he's going to signal a teacher by attempting to create a considerable like burst of fire like just outside the room. He imagines that they'd probably sense somebody is making magical or supernatural fires at night.
And then you extinguish it immediately?
Well, he's going to summon it on stone and not maintain it. So essentially that would be like boom, fire, and then it lands and smolders just barely and then it's gone.
Okay.
I imagine that would be it. If it seems to be sticking, he will definitely use eliminate fire.
All right. Go ahead and use your psychic protection. Also, it's been enough hours that you are full psychic points for this little adventure.
Yeah, little adventure. Well, he doesn't need it to spend psychic points for this particular spell ability. And you want me to do projection or potential?
Potential first.
Okay. Psychic. I should have this up all the time. Potential. Boom.
No, 205. That's pretty nice.
Absurd.
Okay.
Sorry for the typing.
Also, you are taking it into account your personality, mental patterns. Oh, you only took compassion? I thought you were going to take the other one as well.
Extroversion?
Yeah.
I thought about that, but
it's fine if you want to take it later, or if you don't think it matches you.
I might take it later. I do like it. However, I also thought that like there wasn't really a downside of it to him, other than the being alone. Like it being visible wasn't different, and there was something else too. But anyways, yeah, he won't have it now, but he very well might get it later when he interacts with people more and more and more.
Yeah. Listen, like it's okay if there's no downside to it in your eyes. Like for example, Iroh has courage. And that has practically no downside to him because he does not flee from combat ever, and he doesn't use his projection, so he doesn't have a bonus or a penalty to his projection. It just boosts his powers when he's attacking. That's all that this thing does for him. Or in the rare cases that he flees, he's gonna have huge penalties to do so.
If he were not a supernatural abomination, then he and Luca would make good friends.
What do you mean supernatural abomination? He's a natural creature. You can't use summoning.
He's a supernatural abomination because he can make fire with his brain.
Yeah, but so can you.
No, but this is for Luca thinking. Luca can't do it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That was like from Luca's point of view.
Okay. Roll for potential. Difficulty
Uh,
100, not to hit anything flammable.
okay, well, as long as he doesn't fumble, knock wood. Yes, he's fine. Also,
Okay.
that's 10 points of fire, which I think is like a bonfire.
10 intensities? 10 intensities is a lot.
So they will know something is afoot.
I've got to reopen that book.
Yep.
The intensities.
Actually, a big bonfire is 7. There's nothing specifically given for 10.
Oh, yeah. So bigger than a big bonfire is
Yes.
what you're. Okay. There's pipes of that are like at the ceiling, whose who are made of metal and whose purpose you never knew before, that immediately activate and project like cold steam into the corridor,
Oh.
and your fire on top of you, like stopping maintaining it, just like it
Fizzles
makes
out
it
immediately.
disappear much faster. Afterwards, you open the door and you see this grimoire. It's flying that heads straight for
Oh.
your head, and
Oh.
basically what you can see inside of the room is Darius and another creature that are trying to hold it, and it keeps flying around. And until just a second ago, it was trying to break through the window and escape. As they were like holding it back. In fact, you see Darius with his 2 feet against the wall next to the window, just like pulling it.
Yes.
But now it's aiming straight for your face. So
Oh, on the outside. Okay.
yeah, you're on its path outside. So yeah, go ahead and roll for your defense and your psychic potential to activate your shield. Is I believe what you're most likely to
Yes.
use.
I
It's a
was going to say I didn't know if this was the same turn. So if if I do have the turn and I can roll potential, then I shall do so.
yes. The book does not surprise you enough for you to be unable to defend yourself.
All right. There's
Okay.
my protection. Both of those are successful.
Okay, perfect. So you are able to block the book with your shield. It does not hit your face, but it does slip around your shield and out of the room. And Darius pushes you and says, "No, it's my grimoire! Out of the way! I gotta get it back!" And like he tries to grab it. The other creature that is with him, as soon as you stop looking at it, you forget where it is and what it looks like. It's essentially invisible because it erases memories of its appearance and location at all times.
Gotcha. All right. So this thing vanishes. He's like, all right. Well, we won't let it get away, and he's fly after it.
Okay.
He's got wings.
Okay. How much is your movement value with the wings? Is it always 10 or is it based on your agility?
I believe it is always 10.
That's good.
It is very nice. Because he's kind of a slow guy otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. So you make your way through the corridors of the school, and it would appear that the book is heading towards the outside. In fact, after a couple of minutes, you find yourself in the gardens, and the book. You and Darius and Leaf of Age see it leaving the shield and then starting to lower itself more and more towards the surface. And it is not alone. Next, not far away, you can see a sort of spectral shape, and you see Zelfir floating out of the shield and towards the ground as well.
He's gonna shout, Zelfir! Can you help us catch that book?
Zelfir seems to have... He's within earshot, but he does not even move his head to acknowledge your yell. Darius is going to jump onto the book.
Okay.
As the book keeps going lower and lower. And what's his name? Leaf of Age is going to jump off of the cliff and re-enter Darius's body when he's near enough to go back as a familiar. What do you do?
Well, he's gonna soar down next to them and like be ready to catch anyone who decides to fall. Otherwise, I mean, he'll also like try to like say, "Hang on." Actually, he might just grab Darius like by the shoulders and try to drag him back up.
Okay. Darius
with
tells
my 5 strength.
Darius yells and he says, "No, no, wait, no! This is my grimoire. I can't just. It's from my parents. I can't just leave it." And
no, you hold on to the grimoire. I'll try to get you both back up.
Okay. Yeah, it has a strength value that is higher than your flight value. You're not like basically your strength is not like strong enough to lift it back up on top of Darius.
I did figure so. He is 5.
And below you, you realize that it must be midnight because you, Zelfir, Darius, and the Grimoire are heading straight for the spookiest castle, bathed in the glow of the full moon. And yeah, you can see that there's some movement coming from down there. In fact, there's other ghosts and undead creatures and a dragon in the courtyard. What do you do?
He's gonna like look back up like, okay, have they heard my warning? Is outside?
It doesn't seem that anybody else has woken.
Well, he's gonna make one more like fire burst like over the edge of it so that maybe they'll like come to that and look down.
Are you aiming for the shield?
Oh, you're right. Oh shoot, I'm outside the shield.
You are.
He will try to like, I don't know if he can reach it. Actually, I'm pretty sure he can reach it. He's going to try to project the fire to be technically above the level of the school grounds, but outside of the shield.
And then exploded there?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and do potential. That is a success, I believe?
Yes. Unfortunately, I think that is the equivalent of a small bonfire.
Okay.
So much tinier flame.
Yeah. And projection to see if you would like place it correctly. As long as you don't fumble with these rolls, you should be good. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
You're good. You send the equivalent of a flare, basically.
Yes.
And it's going to light up the school, and some people are going to be aware of fire outside of the shield.
Okay.
So that is going to impact the story. But you are now reaching ground level, and Darius tells you, "That's so weird. Normally I'm able to bring the book back to me, and it's never done anything like this, but now it's just leaving." And like you're basically the book is entering the castle through one of the doors. There are no undead, no other creatures around where you land, but Darius goes really quiet. What do you do?
He's going to whisper, I could try to encase it in a block of ice, but I don't know if we'd be able to carry it back then.
You're right. And besides, it's not. I don't think you'd be able to ice Zelfir either. And like Zelfir is in the same corridor as you, and he's just like floating onwards without any expression on his face.
Actually, I'm not so sure about that. But he's not gonna freeze Zelfir because he doesn't know if anything's wrong with Zelfir like immediately. It looks like something's wrong, but not enough for him to start casting offensive abilities on Zelfir.
Yeah. So what do you do?
Hold on, I've got an idea. He's gonna try to use that's gonna be way too much. He's gonna try to split his potential a couple times. He's gonna do 4 times.
Okay, I should warn you.
Yes.
With psychic ambivalence, when you're splitting your psychic potential, you want to split it as much as possible, because if you like um, because it's more dangerous to split it only a couple of times than it is to
Yes.
split unless you have an enormous potential, which you do not have.
I do.
Um,
That said,
mhm.
if I were to split it all of the times, I would technically be able to do something much more powerful, but maybe too powerful. And I'm not, as long as I don't fumble any of these 4 rules, I'm only using create cold, so I'm not
Okay.
in danger of getting fatigued that much.
Yeah, it is an easy one to cast, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So psychic ambivalence gives you a plus 20 on top of your psychic potential
30.
being divided by 4. Is
Yeah.
that still like what score does that give you for each power?
50 for each power.
And the difficulty with cryokinesis is
40 base.
okay. Oh yeah, the minimum you create is 1 intensity. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to create a wall of ice to block this corridor.
Okay.
So here we go. 1 projector potential. Oh, shoot. No, hold on a minute. I can keep that roll, which would bring me to 119 for that one, but I will
Mm-hmm.
correctly remove 70 potential.
Yeah, so it's 139, right? No,
Yeah,
uh,
70, 119. Oh, that's a hundo? No. What?
yeah,
Okay.
it didn't do the thing again. It didn't do the penalty. It didn't do the minus 70. Okay, so it's minus 70 every time. So it's 119 and uh, 70, 87.
That's not going to be enough. That's going to be enough to make ice, but not enough to make an iceberg, which is what I figured I'd need.
Yeah. So
All right.
that gives you what? That gives you 1 intensity with the second power.
And 3 with all of the others. So a total of 10, which is ice. Yay! I make it's slippery all around the entrance to the corridor.
Like
Shoot.
you're creating like a film of ice, like a frozen lake, basically. Like
Yeah.
but it's thin, and Zelfir is going to bump into it, but the book is just going to pass through, breaking it, and Zelfir is going to follow in the hole that was made.
Okay. Well, that did something. I could try again if I have the time, but I don't know if I have the time to try again.
You have another, like, a couple of other opportunities to do this, and I think Darius is he's going to try. I'm not. No, actually, I'm not gonna make him waste any Z on natural magic before James comes around. So he's trying in more physical ways at the moment. As for
Okay.
you, yeah. What are you? You want to try this again?
I do.
In the same way?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let
One
you.
more try.
That is 3 intensities.
3. That's a fumble.
Ooh. Roll to see how much you fumbled by. And at a 2, it's a modifier of 0.
57. So I get a fatigue point. I lose a psychic point.
It's only fatigue 1 for this power. So that's okay, actually. That's only losing 1 point of fatigue is fine.
I forgot to
140.
do the thing, but
Okay,
that is
so that is 78. So
that's 1.
that's 1 intensity. So far, you've created 4.
My goodness. Okay. Last one. I have to open roll. Nope. I get 3 more. So this is even less ice. This is snow.
Yeah. My advice is either split it as much as possible or don't.
Okay.
To if you want to try again, you get to try one last turn. Also, you're leaving behind like puddles on the floor.
Okay, I will do what you say, and I will split it one more time with everything. And this is probably going to make something really bad. So here we go. I'm going
Wait.
to
What's your what's your psychic potential?
120. If I split it 12 ways, I will get 70 base in each
Yeah.
matrix. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to roll 12 D100.
Yeah. Much easier.
Yeah. Here we go.
Fumble.
Boom.
Fumble.
I fumbled the first one.
Yeah. Roll to see how much you fumbled it by.
Not critical, but enough that I take a fatigue. No, I don't. Yeah, I do take a fatigue penalty. So that's the second
Okay.
psychic point that I lose.
Um.
However,
Yeah.
the first one
You
is
this
5.
you did 3 open rolls. So
Okay.
open roll your free open like roll 1d100 for all 3 of your open rolls.
All right.
Okay, so the maximum you're going to get is 98 plus 72 plus your psychic potential. So that is going to be 142 plus 98. That is going to be 150, 240 exactly, which is 13 intensities with your highest roll. So like 13 intensities on one of them, 10 intensities on the other one, for a total of like 23 intensities with just your highest rolls. So that should definitely be enough to create an ice wall that stops them.
Okay. I think though that because I have to use the other ones, I will need to just say like, hold on, what other things do I have? I'm gonna give everyone an ice shield. Actually, no, that would actually fatigue me. No, wait, because I'm compassionate. Can I use compassion on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Then I'll use that, and that will give me. Everybody gets an ice shield. That's 3 of the lesser ones down. And
Oh, okay. So you're maintaining. It's not like a physical shield that people can defend with. It's like the shield power.
yes, the shield power. So it's like everybody is. I can technically defend everyone this turn, but I won't be able to next turn because I'm not maintaining any of those. I
Okay.
just need to use these powers, and I don't want to create a polar storm.
Got it. Yeah, you don't have to like use all of the intensities that you create when you do things like create chill. You can just have the powers and like not and create the minimal intensity that's available. You can like create a snowflake for each of those powers that you activated.
Okay, that sounds good then.
Okay. Yeah. You create a wall, and thanks to your amulet that lets your psychic powers touch energy, that stops both the that stops Zelfir and the book. And
I just hope Zolfir doesn't move directly to the right.
actually, like I believe the castle would be enchanted for the walls to touch energy.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, based on what sort of places this is, definitely enchanted walls. And so Zephyr is unable to pass through, and the book is unable as well. And like there's a pause, and then you hear a voice coming from the other side of the shield, and it's a voice that sounds like it's missing parts of its throat. And through your ice shield, you are able to see uh, a uh, a zombie coming towards you, saying, "What the hell is taking them so long?" And
Great.
and it sees you, and with the ice shield, and it sees Zelfir and the book and Darius, and it seems stunned for a second. What do you do?
Because I like this mechanic, I'm gonna roll composure.
Okay. To see how composed you stay.
I am remarkably composed. I'm not totally composed, but still more composed than most people would be when seeing a zombie, I do think.
Yeah, you do have a lot of willpower, so that helps like
Yeah,
staying focused.
I probably don't
Um,
like take any shock negatives.
all right. Uh,
Um,
he shouts, "Intruders!" And I think Darius is going to be stunned for this fight or encounter. Um, but basically, yeah, roll initiative.
well, I would like. I guess this is going to be the first thing he does. We'll roll initiative, but the first thing he's going to do is try to say, "No, no, no, we want to leave." Um, oh, there we go. I fumble. I have 0.
Yeah. So you're going to act last. Darius, you see Darius like trying to use some magic, and the zombie yells. Uh, the zombie points to Zelfir and says, "You uh, use your powers to cancel theirs out." And you can see an aura starts to come off of Zelfir, his nemesis aura, that starts to spread. Are you maintaining any powers at the moment?
Um, I imagine that the only one he was maintaining was one of the bigger create ice things.
Yeah.
I don't know if any ice he creates and then stops maintaining remains able to affect the supernatural. So I figured he'd maintain like the create ice spell that was the front half, so that they would have to break through both.
Yeah.
But only the front half could reflect energy. So he's maintaining that.
Okay. Yeah, and uh, basically, it's Zelfir's power immediately drops your potential by 80 points, meaning that like what you're maintaining is like starts to crack
Yeah.
immediately. But there's another aspect. Zelfir looks down at his hands, looks back up, and he says, "Where am I?"
Oh, haha! It works 2 ways.
Because it cancels spells.
Yes. Does it cancel the book's ability to fly?
Yeah, the book falls down to the floor.
Yes. Yeah. Zelfir. I don't know why, but you and this book were being dragged into this castle, and we gotta get out of here.
All right, let's go. Darius grabs the book.
Keep your barrier up, though. I think that's stopping the book from flying away.
I can't do that more than a few for longer than a minute.
Well, we'll get as far away as we can in the meantime.
No, wait. Like you're like starting to like move away from the recruiter.
Yeah.
On your turn and stuff. But Zelfir says, I don't think I can make it out. You, Saurora, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Please, can you find the person, the master of this place? He's probably the one who cast the spell to summon undead. For whatever purpose. Please, I don't want to be controlled. Can you convince him to stop his? And you can see his nemesis powers start to like his aura starts to like being less and less dark. What do you do?
He says, I've called the teachers. They're on their way, and I'll do what I can. I'll find him.
And Zelfir, he like you're heading towards the outside, but he turns and he says, "I think there's a magical power that I can't cancel. That's way too strong, and it's coming from over there." And he points to deeper in the castle to what looked like the the main part of the castle. The center of it, and his aura keeps diminishing. And you can and Darius tells you, I can see the spell that he's canceling, and it's everywhere. It seems to be controlling all of the undead around here.
That way, and he's gonna like try to gauge where that is. Okay. I'll try to make it there.
Thank you, Zelfir says, and the he's unable to maintain his power anymore. And the last thing that he says before the spell takes over his mind again is, "I'm counting on you." And then his stare becomes blank again, and he starts to hover back in the direction he was heading.
Does he
Darius,
float through the ice?
it's your maintaining power was like uh, um, was
Actually, my maintained power would have been reduced to 40,
ooh,
which would allow me to maintain it on a single intensity. So one snowflake was still mine. However, afterwards, when it faded, it would technically get bigger again. So would he be able to like keep that wall energy
yeah,
free?
I think you'd be able to keep it as long as you keep that power attached. There are other corridors, so you can actually see Zelfir is like in the book start to take a detour, and Darius says, "We gotta find this mage, and when I find him, I'm gonna make him give me my grimoire back."
Well, I'm glad you're coming with me then. Okay, so and here's his plan. I don't know if we want to continue this without James, but I will say we could follow these things through the corridors, or I imagine wherever this thing is, it's probably a central part of the castle. I might be able to fly us through one of the windows further in.
Or yes, flying is probably more discreet than walking around the corridors. There's undead everywhere around here. All right,
Okay.
can mm, I can hide and send my Leafofage to follow you. He's very discreet.
Oh, actually, I had a plan for this. I want to can I roll a cult or something to know what a lethal phage is?
Yeah, sure. They are not very well known
No,
creatures, and you
no.
do not roll high enough with an 8 on your
Okay.
roll.
I was hoping that would be the one thing I really wanted to open roll was knowing what lethal phage was, but that's okay. I made a wall of ice. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was good.
In that case, he is going to say, okay, can it fly?
No, but he's discreet enough to follow you from the ground, and I can
Okay,
communicate through him.
okay. Should I take you somewhere?
Uh, I'm gonna hide in this suit of armor.
Oh, okay.
And, like like yeah, basically he's gonna hide like under the cape of the
Okay.
suit of armor.
I was gonna say references to Warriors of Light. Um, okay.
I did not do that on purpose at all.
Yeah. He's okay. I guess I'll go then. Is it? He looks around. Is it with me?
Yeah, it's you hear the voice that you forget what it sounds like immediately that says, "Yeah, I'm right here, dumbass."
He like looks around again, and there's a few moments where he's just blinking and dazed because he keeps forgetting this thing. Okay. I have a headache. Let's go.
All right.
And he's going to
Um.
fly out of the corridor and in the direction, looking for any, like the most kingly and large individual section he can find.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to roll for stealth. Oof,
I'm not stealthy.
you're not stealthy, but you get a plus 20 bonus from your flying, which makes it easy. Oof.
Man, I'm not. I roll either. Not very good. 90s.
Um. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, you have a 5, I give you a 20, you have a minus 40 for being untrained. 14, so you are going to be spotted, but you're not going to be spotted by the person who you'd expect. You are going to fly up to one of the windows of this room. It seems to be an entrance, a hall, a greeting hall.
Yes.
Maybe it might even have been a dance hall at some point. But currently, it is empty for almost everyone except a couple of people. You see just like one person on who's like standing on the higher portion of it, and it's this very pale-looking barbarian wearing a guy with clothes like a barbarian and a sort of like red stain on his chest.
Oh boy.
And like just looking at him, you can feel an aura of power. And in front of him, I did not mean to do that. And in front of him is Headmistress Asajj and Zenobius.
Yeah.
So he and like basically like yeah, you're flying up to one of the windows and observing this, and you hear the man welcoming them to his humble abode. And like you piece together that if he's the host, he must be Hingam.
Tringham, yes.
So, headmistress, he says, although you have come without invitation, so I don't see why I should let you stay within my halls. And the headmistress says, Hingam, there is a war coming. There's a lot of events coming. You must have perceived the breach of heaven as well. And you must know that players are on the move. The big players of the world are starting to prepare for whatever is going to happen. I've heard reports that aeons are awakening and that sleepers like the machine could be a new era where they will awaken again. We have to be. We are going to take a stand. My school is not going to let this random destruction happen throughout the world. But we want to know where you stand. Hingam says, I stand where I always stand, right here in my silent halls. No one, I won't take part of any of your foolish wars. I won't use my powers on any sides. I won't invade the world unless if intruders keep entering my home. And Zenobius, you hear a laugh coming from Zenobius that sounds like it's echoing from deep within, like as if there's a cavern inside, like as if he's like the entrance of a cavern, very deep that has a lot of echo. And he says, "Stop joking, Hringam. We know you let adventurers and anybody come in here as long as they can amuse you. We don't want anyone from Yehuda coming here with gestures and fireworks and convincing you to join their side." And Hingam says, "So what do you expect? You want me to join your school? I would fit right in with an elemental of darkness, a Duxarist headmistress, and I could be the new teacher, necromancy for everyone." for you, you're having to like fly, and you notice that the headmistress, like basically you're like towards the back of the room,
Yeah.
so you're towards like one of those windows here, when
Hmm.
you're observing all of this, and you can see the headmistress notices you,
Yeah.
and she frowns, and like she seems to concentrate on something, and then Hingham says, "I thought we were clear about not using powers against each other. I won't let you convince me with your usual tricks, witch." And she says, "I apologize. I'm not planning on using any powers. Just let us leave here peacefully if you won't join us." And he says, "Peacefully, huh? That is such a boring solution. It's never very. One gets bored of eternity in a lonely castle. Here, I think I might have some fun with your school instead. What do you do?"
Um. So there's a window pane, right? It's not
Yeah,
open. Okay.
yeah, it's not open.
He as soon as the mistress sees him, he's gonna be like waving and like trying to mouth the words that isn't there. No, that's the wrong one. Yes, Zelfir. Like Zelfir is in trouble. And he looks around for the lethal phage, and the lethal phage, you can't see it. Can he see?
Yeah,
Oh, can he see footprints in the snow?
yeah, you can. You're gonna see that the leafofage is like waiting below, near the ground level of where you are. But there is also like a group of skeletons marching through the courtyard, next to his position at the moment. But like in a few seconds, you'll be able to go down there.
Okay. Um, he wants to like as they're talking, he's trying to signal to like himself, and then can he come like inside? Can he move in there?
Mm-hmm.
This is him trying to signal this to the headmistress show and see if she will say yes or no.
Say yes or no to what?
If wait, are you saying that in her voice?
No, no. I'm asking you. What
Okay.
are you trying to?
He's trying to ask her through pantomime if he can enter the room.
Um, like, okay, so you mm, let's see if
She might
there's
not be
a
able to understand him.
let's see if there's a role for communication that could fit what we're doing right now in
Yes,
like the social skills or something.
that would make sense. Um,
uh, I'm gonna say it's. Hold on.
he has enough
Because
intelligence to know all sorts of language, but I don't know why he would ever have learned sign language.
for moments like these, maybe.
Yes, well, he never thought he'd need this moment, but he'll know for the future.
Roll pure intelligence, please.
Pure intelligence. He's actually naive but smart.
Okay.
12. That's not amazing, but it's something.
You can use your psychic powers to write stuff in the air around you, but that is not stealthy at all.
That is not. Um. Hmm. All right. Well, then he is just going to observe for a moment. After this happens, what do they like separate?
No, Zenobius is saying you will find that our school is just as well protected uh, as your own castle. And Hingham says, no, it is not. Uh, I I know of your defenses, and I already have and one of my spells was able to pierce your shield easily. One of the spells of my necromancers was able to pierce your shields easily. So, what sort of uh, what sort of fun could I have? So many possibilities. And the headmistress says you could have more fun uh, uh, taking a side in the conflict that is to come and taking the right one. We need. Maybe it's time for the undead to redeem themselves. And Hangam says, "We have nothing to redeem ourselves for. We merely exist as we are, and we don't have to ask forgiveness for those who will soon die. You mortals, you think you're owed the power of the flow of souls. You think you're owed uh, your existence, but we have but the undead, we will live forever. We will keep existing, and we will inherit the world. It's not for you, and soon you will fade away, and we shall remain." And Sarge says that will be quite a boring experience. I can guarantee it. Do you do anything?
No. Though if he can, like he'll like put a foot on the windowsill and just sort of settle there to not be flying. Can you do that, or is there not enough room?
There is enough room.
Okay, so he settles there for a minute and he's listening.
Okay. You can see the headmistress uh, like looks towards you, and she does this with her eyes.
He's gonna.
Every time that Hingham is looking at Zenobius, when Zenobius is talking, she does this.
Well, he's gonna look at the ceiling first. Is there anything of a specific note there?
There's a huge, luxurious chandelier made out of what appears to be crystal or glass, but it's not hanging over anybody's head in particular.
Okay.
Well, it's probably above. It's probably above the headmistress.
Okay. Well, that seems like a bad idea, so maybe that's not what she means. He's gonna frown a little bit and like step back off of the windowsill, looking up. Like, is there anything above, like another entrance over the
No,
place he's at now?
the school is hovering over the Midnight Castle. The Castle of Midnight.
Oh boy. He looks back at like down at the footprints walking around. Have the skeletons cleared out?
Yes.
Okay.
You go down there?
Yeah, he's gonna go down there and like tell the Lethophage that the headmistress and Zenobius are here. And they're talking to Ringham, but I don't think it's going very well. What do you think we should do?
Maybe we can. Maybe if we tell the headmistress. Maybe if we burst in, we can tell the headmistress to clear the spell, and then we can leave. But I don't know what. Are there guards in there? Does it look dangerous?
I didn't see any, but I don't think that will go as well as we hope. Herringham seems intent on doing some sort of violence, and that seems like an open invitation. She told me to go back to the school. We should get Darius and go get the other teachers and see what we can get real together.
Darius can't fly. Neither can I.
But you can be in him like you were, and then I can fly Darius there.
Can you, though?
I think so. He's very small.
What's your strength?
His strength is 5, which will let him carry Darius and 10 pounds of stuff.
Oh, nice. Da-da-da. Okay, so technically, yeah, you could carry him. It does count as like intense effort, like running. So
That is true.
it will use your fatigue. So it would use your fatigue really quickly, but
Yes.
but otherwise it's all good.
I've also got a goofy idea of using psychic powers for other things.
Such as
Can I create a burst of heat for the purpose of giving myself an updraft?
yes, that is a very creative idea. I love it.
I figured that's something he would do frequently.
Nice. Oh yeah. Definitely a creative use of your powers. So yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. They did mention that. Okay. I just want to check that I said everything that's important concerning the talk. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you go back to Darius, and
Yes.
at it's around this point that you hear the ghostly voice of Hingam ringing throughout the entire castle, and his voice seems pretty amused, and he says, "Our recruiter has just informed me that there are two intruders inside of the castle at the moment, two children of the school that is visiting us. To all of my agents, know that the usual protocol for intruders applies to those children as well. Proceed." What do you do? You're in the
Hopefully beat
corridors.
feet.
Sorry.
Hopefully beat feet and get out of there soon.
Okay. You hear marching feet. You hear doors opening in the corridors around you, and you can see more and more undead creature of all kinds just starting to look around, and lots of them are talking gleefully to each other.
All right.
So what do you do? Darius has the Leaf of Age come back into him, and you're both hiding behind the armor at the moment.
Initial idea is escape. So
Okay.
how high is this corridor?
This corridor is 5 meters high. It's like everything. It looks like this sort of grand castle.
Okay, that's enough to get over the head of soldiers. Like
Yes.
normal humans, anyways. He is going to, first of all, give both of us a psychic shield, a shield of ice.
Okay.
That's a fumble.
Ooh, not great. That's a fumble.
A decently bad fumble.
Also, it's because you rolled a 1, you get a bonus, I believe, of either 15 or 21 on this fumble.
Plus that 15. Is in the older rolls, but yes.
Oh,
that will give me fatigue 4, which takes up all of my remaining psychic points.
Whew, dang. Also, you only need to if you are carrying him, you can use a psychic shield on one psychic shield to cover multiple people. Although it does double the damage
that we take.
Yeah.
Well, look, I rolled a 4. One good thing about Ice Shield is that it has a lot of health. So he'll do that. He has a 600 life point shield around them.
Your roll sucks so much. And here's the thing, like, I'm usually pretty unlucky, and I'd be tempted to have Baroness like boost your skill checks to so that you have a higher chance of open rolling, but it also augments the chances of fumbles by just a little bit, and I don't think it would work very well in your favor, even if
I would have fumbled several more times this game.
Oh man, you're unlucky.
We'll see.
It's
It's okay.
hey, you know what? It's better to be unlucky in this game than in the one where I'm making you fight level 9 at the moment.
Yes. And I guess level 9, I got pretty lucky. That
Yeah,
aerial block was clutch.
yeah. No, that was good. Um,
Uh, so he's going to put the shield on, and we're going to try to fly us out of here.
okay. Uh, so yeah, you have the shield. That was a successful psychic potential roll.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I need to. Well, projection will happen whenever somebody uses a thing on me.
All right. So you start to fly back upwards, and you are, and it's like tiring. In fact, I just need to check one thing. It counts basically as like moving at full speed when you're carrying someone. Um, you know what?
Yes.
For every 10 degrees by which you uh, for each 10 like Celsius degrees by which you are able to augment the heat with your psychic power. If you try this, I will I'll lower the category of movements that it is to fly upwards.
Are you talking about the increase the ambient temperature ability?
Yes.
That happens kind of slowly, unfortunately. I was
Hmm.
hoping to use. I've only been using create fire and create ice, but they're okay. I was hoping to use that to create just a big burst of heat that would give me like a 1 turn flying upwards boost.
I say we use the create heat and say that it happens faster. If that's fine with you.
That is fine, except I don't have that power known yet, and I
Hmm.
don't have the spiking points anymore because I fumbled.
All right. So we're gonna say for every 5 intensity you create with create fire, you're able to, or no, for every 10 intensity it lowers the thing by one. So it would go from one fatigue point every 5 combat turns to one fatigue point every 10 minutes if you create 10 intensities of fire or more.
Okay, so that means that 10, I feel like, should probably do it.
10 in 10, yeah. It would, yeah. So go ahead and roll.
I'd hold on a minute. I'm doing my math. I don't think I want to split it this time. I know that splitting it makes things easier a lot of the time, but I don't just like always. I like to hold that up for some other time. May I ask one more question?
Yes.
Would I get my extra degree of difficulty on the potential due to compassionate because I'm doing this both to get up there and also to help Zelfir and Darius?
Hold on. Compassion, you say. When using his powers to help others, he automatically increases the difficulty level achieved by 1. Yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
it's 140.
Here we go.
How much intensities does this create?
What? Oh, that wasn't for this. That was my potential for this ice shield. This is the potential for the thing. Okay, that creates exactly 10.
Perfect. So it's only going to take you 1 fatigue because it takes you 5 minutes, unless if you make an athleticism check, which can lower this if you roll higher than moderate success.
Well, I have athleticism, but only enough that I need to open roll to do it. I do.
You open roll, nice.
I mean, I would have had it. 1 fatigue point isn't that big, but I guess it's fine.
There's something big coming, so yeah, 140. So you lower the so basically it's instead of being you lose 1 point every 5 minutes of flying like this, you lose 1 point of fatigue for every 20 minutes.
All right, that seems like enough time to get it there.
Yeah. You get back to the you get back to the school grounds, and as you're making your way to the school, you are going to spot something weird that's happening. You know the platform that's outside of the shield?
I do know that.
Yeah, there's a couple of shadows there. There's people moving. There's some lights that look vaguely supernatural.
Oh. Like by shadows of people or shadows the monster shadows?
Shadows of people.
Okay. He is going to like descend upon that one and see who's all gathered together.
Okay. You uh yeah. Darius, as you're like heading down, Darius tells you, "Hey, these people are these people are magic. More than that, these people, they're none of them are necromancers. That's weird."
Well, they're probably students, right? We don't have a lot of student necromancers.
That makes sense. And you get close enough that uh, they that they see you, and one of them is one of them turns to you, and in the dark you can't see very well, but she's wearing very. I'm not gonna show that to you just yet because of the name, but in a very nice voice she says, "Oh, hello, students. Come here, please, and roll for." Uh, uh, Roll to use your psychic shield to defend.
Papa, that was an okay defense.
All right, give me 1 second. That is I have a projection of 100 with a mage. Okay. I'm gonna be. I should. Wait. Can I? No, I can't spend fatigue on this. Ooh. Ooh.
She can open roll though.
Yes. Okay.
That's a decent amount.
That is a decent amount. Basically, what's going to happen is that chains appear around you and weights, and the chains are like linked to the floor of the platform, and you start getting dragged down. And when you're close enough, the chains like are bright, and in the light of those chains, you can see that they are all wearing badges that bear the symbol of the Order of Yehuda.
Oh, geez. This is a lot of people hitting us at once.
Yep.
She's got little thorn petticoats.
Yep. And I know it's a bit early, but I think now would be a good moment to end this game, and it's only going to count as 3 hours. Would that be fine with you?
That would be fine. I admit, I want to see what happens next, but I've been sort of nervous without James being here and his character being played the whole time.
Yeah.
So-
I like basically this whole part where he was here was more of an introduction to the events, and the events are starting now. Basically,
Yes.
like the
There are several events going on right now.
yeah, exactly. Like like there was like I was setting up the thing, and as long as James watches the video, and like I think I played his character mostly like he would have, we can retcon some of the things that he did and just move on from there. But
I would accept these things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That was a really nice game. I had so much fun.
I had a lot of fun too. I liked all of my interactions with Iroh. I admit I avoided Grublin because for viewers, Grublin, I got to read a little bit about the students ahead of time, and Grublin was my favorite. So I did not immediately go and talk to Grublin. But Yes, I had a lot of fun too. I'm happy to get to use this. I've never actually had a psychic before. I've played this
Ooh,
game for years, never played a mentalist.
okay. Well, now you have. And are you liking it so far? I
I
like.
am. I'm liking the ability to just sort of manifest whatever powers I have right out of the gate. And to be honest, just sort of be creative with very basic abilities.
Yeah, cause like you have like abilities that are kind of like very simple, but can be adapted for a lot of different situations. You could create a
Mhm.
snowman if you wanted with your like create shield, but you could also create weapons made out of ice and then maintain them and stuff like this. And I've like just based on the powers that you've used, you use them very creatively. So I think it's that's the way psychics are meant to be played in this game. I believe that's the way I always like try to play them when I'm playing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hyped for the rest of this campaign
I
with the
want
two
to
of
get
you.
to the next one so that we can see what happens to the Order of Yehuda people. And also to Zephyr. Zelf
Zelfir.
Zelfir.
Yeah.
I'm not so great with names, but Zelfir, yes. Because I want to save him. He's a sad looking ghost man.
Yeah. About to be enrolled into the army of the dead just because the uh, the shields around the school failed for some reason and the spell got through. Now you're
For
thinking there's members of the Order of Yehuda. Maybe
I admit that occurred to me. I wonder if they're the reason. Because
you
I want to believe that the headmistress of Sage knows exactly what she's doing most of the time. Uh, what was I going to say? But that said, dual enrollment looks great in some colleges.
hmm?
Dual enrollment for Zephyr. He's enrolled in this school, and he's also enrolled in the Army of Evil Dead. That's what I meant. Anyways, yeah.
Also, like I'm going to be developing a subplot that's gonna that maybe is going to take some time for you to like piece together. But
Yeah,
uh, the Order of Yehuda, it seems that they're able to know things they should not be able to know, and that's going to be very important later down the line.
it is. Like, how did they know we were all the way out here? Man, we'll see. We will see.
And in a previous game, how did they know that the school had what artifacts the school was storing? That's something the students know, but it's not supposed to be something you tell to everyone.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe there's someone on the inside.
Dun dun
Yeah.
dun.